Actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You live on the West Coast. You live on the East Coast. That's right.
Yeah. I drove right by that school. We were at a birthday party, 2 blocks away from that school.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Interesting.
Make sure you hit that like button and the share button, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Do to help me out. Help me out.
Yeah. Here we go.
Make sure.
The rest of the guys will be coming.
There's somebody. I was reading like local news. Somebody from New Jersey got hit by a train. He was found hours later, and he's still for his life. Like he's still crazy.
Man.
Yeah, so we might have a light crowd today because I think I'm going live and Press Start Podcast is going in. I was just on Press Start Podcast for like 10 minutes.
I saw that.
Yeah, so we might be struggling here and there, but I got a small announcement though. It's not that big, dude. No, this is going to be the last podcast where we have it like the standard. Like we probably still have it on Google and Hangouts, but I'm going back to the Planet Xbox intro and the words and the gameplay and shit like that. So we'll do that. We'll have it for all the day one people. You know, we're gonna bring it back that way.
What do you use, Smooth? You use OBS or XSplit?
I use OBS. I'm speaking of XSplit. I'm getting a green screen. It's coming out on Saturday. I don't know how to use that. What do I use to like? Can I use the OBS like for green screen, or I have to use XSplit?
Bro, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I know that Razer camera automatically sorts all that for you. What do you have? You have a Brio?
I have a Brio. I have a Logitech Brio.
Yeah, I know it could be done on OBS and XSplit. For me, I've used both, and I actually find XSplit easier to use, but I don't know how to do that feature what you're looking to do though.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what other program to use as far as podcasting wise to get. I need some other stuff made. Like I would like to have like a Planet Xbox like overlay where our videos. I would like to have a video cast where all of us can be on video. That'd be awesome. We'll get to that when the time's right. But
that actually would be good. I'm down for that, for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in here. Attic, you made it.
GA in here, man.
Man, like I told you, I get off at 9. Okay, I can't be here at 9:03. It does take a little time to drive.
I didn't think you were working today. Like I mean, because I was just in the party with you some hours ago.
I work a split shift. I go back. I leave at 1 and I go back at 5.
Oh wow!
All right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. But yeah, so that's what I plan on doing with the show. Hopefully, up the ante, some heavy competition out here. You know what I mean? I'm trying to survive. You know what I mean? I'm trying to survive. Like you know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure we can do the podcast without requiring an appearance from Hard 8. So. But
it takes time, man. You don't build a brand overnight.
Hit the like button and hit the share button. Tell your friends that we're live. Leave Kofi's podcast and watch this one. All right.
Kofi, they're having a podcast? Oh yeah, we do.
We're on the wrong day. It's a makeup day. This is a makeup day. Because we didn't do it yesterday. Because yesterday
you get the majority of your views afterwards, so people are still gonna watch both.
Yeah, better. But what's up, everybody? It is Planet Xbox episode 33. I am your host. I think I'm hosting today. Kid Smooth, aka the best spot. Everybody else, you can introduce yourself. We can start with a Gaming Addict.
What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here. I have officially bought Last of Us, The Order 1886, and Ratchet and Clank. So I'm definitely gonna be playing those. Which one do you guys think I should play first?
Last of Us. You can ask that on Planet PlayStation.
Yeah. Planet PlayStation. Man, if I can't even at least mention that I bought a game, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong podcast. You've heard it here though. Kitsumu's making a Planet PlayStation.
No, that's not happening. I should though, just so I can hit the name right.
No, you need to make a Planet PlayStation. It's just like it's like a podcast like a one-stop for gamer. Like it's just strictly like we're PlayStation gamer. You need to get nothing but like hardcore Xbox people in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: if you stream The Last of Us, because I never played The Last of Us multiplayer, I'll do streams with you.
Oh man!
Wait, you never played The Last of Us?
Not the multiplayer.
Oh, okay, the multiplayer. Okay.
So
I'm not a big fan.
I have
of
Persona 5 too. By the way, I saw someone posting that.
You got a good game selection right there.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I also have Bloodborne and Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my gosh, you got such a good game lineup.
I ain't a Bloodborne fan.
All right, Frog, come on, what's up?
What's going on? It's Dope Gaming with Frog. Frog's always ready as usual. I'm here to talk topics and games. Let's get in it.
And my Latin homie, Merc 305. How you doing, man?
Yo, we in here. Merc 305 everywhere. Looking forward to talking some games, and my prayers with everybody affected in Parkland, Florida. Any families affected with what happened yesterday.
Yo, let's stop the unnecessary shootings. Okay.
Facts. Yes.
Keep the shooting on video games. All right. So, so there's a couple of things that happened this week. I know there was some sort of public outcry on the booth sizes.
Oh, God.
Microsoft booth size was revealed. I don't even think it's like official, but it was revealed, and people are like already jumping to several conclusions about E3. And suddenly, I want to know what you guys, from what we saw, what do you think of? What do you think of what you saw? Who wants to tackle that? Because you guys already know my opinion on this one. But Frog, go ahead.
I'll go first. From what I saw, I've heard different things. Some insider stuff I've heard that. From what I saw, if that's the booth size, I'm kind of like, I think they're just gonna do something. In my personal opinion, from what I've heard a lot of insiders say, they're gonna do something outside of E3 themselves. That's what I personally think, because I don't think that can just be their space, because that space is if that's their booth size, that space is pretty small. I'm not going to E3 this year. You know, my wife's family is from that side of the country, so it wouldn't be too hard for me to go. But no, I'm not going to go. But my whole thing is like, and you know, because I've heard people say, oh, people are worried about, you know, their booth size and they're not going to go. But I guess for me, how I look at it is like, I guess if you have games to show, you have content to show, you want to give people space to play it in. So what I personally think is going to happen, if that's the only space they have inside of E3, I think Microsoft is going to do something themselves and pay for it, because it may be more cost effective, and they may be able to, since they have the X out now, to really push their new software that's coming out. And that's just what I think about it. I hope that's not their booth size and that's it. I hope they have something more. To me,
didn't Aaron Green come out and say that those maps that were out on the website were a lie?
He did, but then somebody else in the corporation was, you know, it's like, I don't know who to believe anymore. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, who else in the corporation?
It was what's his name? Not Aaron Greenberg. It's because Aaron Greenberg is Greenbeard or something like that, right? On Twitter, his Twitter handle. Yeah. It's okay, yeah. So I can't remember the other guy's name. Oh, there you go. He had said something, and it was like in the same conversation, and he was like, "We got something big planned," and which makes me believe that okay, they're gonna do something separate. Like the way he was wording it was kind of like, yeah, they got something big planned. So I think they're just gonna do something outside of that whole center right there. I think they'll have a small little, you know, whatever in there, and that'd be for media. And I think they're just going to do something all outside of E3, and it's going to be like what do they call it, fanfare or whatever. I think FanFest. There you go, FanFest. Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think that's the route they're going to go, which is cool. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just interested to see what they show, more or less.
I'll tell you why I think you're right. If you notice, I mean, even EA is doing their own thing outside. Yeah. So I actually think that's totally what Microsoft's going to do.
Years now.
Yeah.
They got their own thing going on. Mm-hmm. So did Ubisoft last year,
right? Kinda. Yeah. I think they did. They did
it outside of
E3. Yes, they did it outside.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I actually believe that those rumors are true. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Which would be. Cool.
I mean, I personally enjoyed the separate events more than E3 itself. Like when because the thing is, Microsoft, like, and even Sony, they have other events at the. They all have another like pretty much similar to what their E3 booth like. It'll take place like Microsoft takes place at the Galen Center. That's where their conference is, and then after the conference, later on that night, and then the next day, they have like a whole event where all their booths and games are set up for you to play, and drink and eat and just play and get demonstrations. All that stuff is up, just like being at E3. Except it's just all Xbox. And I'm like, so about the time I got to E3, I didn't need to go to the Microsoft booth. I only went there just because, you know what I mean? I had appointments for like, I think for a couple of games over there, but I didn't need to do it because I had already came from the actual Microsoft event, and then that's where I met Phil and everything. So it's like, it's to me, it's like when the booth side is just like, it's whatever, because like the booth side, when I'm thinking about being at the booth, it had nothing to do with what I saw at the conference or what they bring. It's just whatever's playable at the booth. But people, I swear, up and down, bring they'll get the floor plans, and then they'll just start going off the wood top at the booth size. It's like, who got the biggest booth? This is the person. They're gonna have the best E3. They're gonna have the worst E3 because of their booth size. And half this is coming from people who won't even step foot in Los Angeles when this thing happens. So it's funny. It's amusing to me.
Well, I guess I've seen a lot of things on Twitter. I guess the thing is, the question is, like, if they're not doing something outside of this, and this is the only thing they're doing, would it be disappointing, or do you think they'll have a poor showing? And I guess that's how people are looking at it. Because at one aspect, I was thinking, like, man, this is all they have. This is not that great. But on the flip side, it's like, if they have another show and they have their own thing going, that's cool. But I don't think this would be the only space they have. To me, it would be crazy. You launch a new system and that's the only space you have. That would be ridiculous.
See, to me, this is how I look at it. If Microsoft didn't have a conference at E3 and they had a big booth, I'd be disappointed.
I agree.
If Microsoft didn't have a conference, you know how that one year people like when Gamescom, when Sony didn't show up to Gamescom one year and then Microsoft didn't have a Gamescom conference, it was like disappointing. Now imagine if Microsoft or Sony, well, Microsoft didn't have a conference at E3, a conference. That's where I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? It's like, because like that's even if I don't go from home, that's double the whammy. When it comes to booth size, if I'm not going to E3, the booth size doesn't matter to me at all whatsoever. There's nothing I can get from the booth size. But the conference, if they don't have a conference, or their conference is cut to 30 minutes rather than an hour or 90 minutes, that's when I'm worried.
Well, you know? I guess here's the other thing too, and this is the only reason I say booth size matters to me. If it's open to the public, which again I heard it's open to the public again this year, wouldn't booth size matter more then? Because it's open to the public, because the public doesn't get to go to all these conferences.
Well, the public make E3 worse. It's too crowded. It's really honestly the last thing. Nobody's when you're there, right? It's like there's so much going on. There's so many people that it's weird for somebody to be like, oh my God, the size of this booth. Like I was going from booth to booth, like, and just lucky if I could play a game in booth.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? You really don't realize it. And like stuff like that doesn't really come to hand or come to mind when you're actually there and when you're going through and you're just trying to play whatever you can play or see what you're trying to see. The size of the booth really doesn't hit you or how big the booth is supposed to be, because you're in a big ass convention center. Everything looks decent to you at the point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Last year, Microsoft that was their smallest booth at the time, right? If you would have asked me, I wouldn't have known or couldn't have tell. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, oh, okay, well, wow. It was crowded. They had some games there. I went to EA. I went to EA. They had their own offsite thing. I went to like Activision and Sony and stuff like that. It was just too crowded to even give a damn about the booth size, because at the end of the day, it didn't do anything for me. Like, it's not like they all had nothing to play. The thing about E3 that kind of annoys me a little bit, because they'll have some of the new games and they'll have current games that are already released. And that's when it drives me nuts, because that'll be taking up some booth space as well. It's like games that they're doing for games that just came out 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
And they're still trying to push them.
Yeah. Right. And that's going to be present there too. So it's like at this point, it's like I don't really give a damn about the booth size because E3 itself. I'm not even a big fan of being on like the show floor. Like if I go to E3, I just want to go to the conference and I want to go back home. That's all I want to do this year is go to the conferences and then go back home.
Makes sense.
Yo, it's Grinds My Gears. I'm on. I thought.
Shit, Jazz, what's up? Man?
Oh yeah, Jazz is there.
You could interrupt and say something.
Oh no, man! I'll let you guys talk because you make excellent points about like when it's there and it's so chaotic. Like I haven't been to E3. I drove around outside because I didn't have tickets when I was out there working, but I never been there and I see how crazy it is out on the outside. Can imagine what it is on the inside. But I've been to PAX and stuff. So PAX East, I know it's not even as big as that, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, you may be right. Like when you're on the floor, like you're not gonna see that. Like it's so chaotic that you're really not gonna see the size of the booths and see that. But the one thing though that when I posted that tweet and it blew up with a whole bunch of likes and stuff, my whole thing was that it went from last year. It was smaller because the 2016 it was big. They were in with Sony and Nintendo. They moved over to the other group. They moved to where third party was last year, and they had like a 200 by 100 size booth. So it's like a 20,000 square feet. Whatever they have now, it's a 72 by 20. That's like 1,440 square feet. You're talking going from 20,000 to almost 1,500. That is significant. And that was just like, whoa, that is huge. So I'm hoping those other yellow boxes that were there is part of their booth. And maybe that's just like a mix of broadcast thing because a 72 by 20, that's like a master bedroom size. Like that is not too big. And I don't know what they could put in there. And that's where my concern is. It's like, like they can have a private party for the fans and put all that stuff on, which is, that's great. But it is open to the public, and it is a trade show, and people do. I know how many things you get handed with little index cards. Go here, go to this website, go here, posters, shirts. It is a marketing thing, and if you're gonna have that versus you go in there and see the Sony and Nintendo's, the big signs and all that other stuff, and Microsoft really does have that size booth, it can be kind of the perception could be that what is this, and they might not know of a private party or meet and getting invited to those things. So it's not indicative of the announcements. Like they could have Halo trailers and all that stuff and not be playable on the show floor. But, so it's not indicative of that they're gonna have a crappy E3. It just was very surprising to me going, you released the strongest console out. You would want to think you have a booth that shows all these games running the best on your booth, playable on the Xbox One X, because last year they didn't have a lot on the X. A lot of it was being played on PC, right? They didn't have too much on the X. And now you could see it. And being such a visual thing, like you got to be in front of it on a 4K TV, it's probably the best place to kind of demonstrate the power of the X there, like to show the difference, because it is a visual thing. And you see Best Buys and GameStops, they don't have the demos out there to really show this thing. And the fact that they're at E3, they got interested gamers, you would think that they would want to go big and go strong. And that's where I was surprised. I'm like, that is small. So it's not final per Aaron Greenberg, but even his tweet really didn't just say like, yo, that's wrong. Our booth is bigger than that. He didn't say that. Right. He said we're going to be there in a big way, which could mean announcements, because the other thing is that last year they thought they brought the games. I didn't think they brought the games. That's me. They were running around saying we announced 44 games, like 25 of them are console exclusive. I can't even name 10 of them. And I don't know what 44 games they were talking about. All I remember was PUBG and Forza, and those other highlight reels were kind of low key, not really that great.
A lot of those games are coming like this year, like Deep Rock Galactic, which is starting to get some ground. The Darwin Project, which I think is due this summer, and
there's that PC game. What's it called? Black
Desert.
Black Desert.
Is that like a first person? Is that
it was big on PC, man.
Oh, but yeah,
I didn't. I don't know the game.
I remember every interview last year. They're like, "Well, we brought games, 44 games announced." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." like you did. So like his tweet really doesn't really make me feel comfortable. That it makes me kind of go like, oh, that might be the size of that booth, and they might do an off like big party somewhere else, maybe in another center, which it's good. My whole thing with it is that they can handle the core, like the core hardcore Xbox. They can manage those people. I want them to reach out and pull them from other places and say, come on, come over here. And they tried doing that with the power narrative, but it's just like, come on, do it with the games, man. Do it with just bring them over. Like, come on, stop reaching out and being competitive rather than kind of be like, hey, we got our group, we're good, everybody. Like, and I just feel like that's kind of the method that they're taking, rather than kind of being aggressive and bringing the games that differentiate them and games that would entice that. Like, I would say it what it is. Say what you say with Kojima, but man, they made sure they brought him out on stage last regime every single time, because they know that was a thorn in Sony's side. That the fact that guy was marching out on stage with them, and they did it as a publicity stunt, all the time. And it was jabs, and it was things that made them seem competitive, and that's where I feel like they're, that's where I want to see it. And that kind of size booth, even Nintendo, for a company that doesn't have a conference, they have like a little, like, they have that Nintendo Direct. Their booth is monstrous. And they're going to get a lot of third party support too, I'm sure, this year. That's going to be the big talk. Like all the people.
Yeah, third party support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was my whole thing. Like,
didn't they have the year the Switch launched? They had an enormous booth just for one game for Zelda.
It was for
right?
Zelda. Yeah, and that was like the most. That booth got the most traction. Like everybody was at that booth.
And Microsoft had a Halo booth with HoloLens on it. Didn't they have that 2 years ago? Like a whole.
I think so, when they showed it
with HoloLens.
Didn't they have the Minecraft demo, right?
Yeah.
They had the Minecraft demo on stage, but then they also had the HoloLens where you walk through a Master Chief, like basically a headquarters, and you look at the table, and it actually has holograms of people giving you a mission and stuff. It was for Halo 5. But but that was like, spectacle that people were talking about HoloLens. Like that was a cool interactive kind of experience. And, I don't, and that was when they had the big booth. That was in 2016, I believe. And then last year they went smaller, but they moved to the other wing where third party was. And I remember I said, whoa, their booth got small. I think I said the same thing last year. And everybody's like, they put it over there because they're going to have third party showing all on the X. So they want to be with their third party. And I'm like, I don't think that came to fruition, but so I hope that's not the size of their booth, but if it is, they'll make do with what they got. But hopefully they have like another conference sometime. Like, if they had 4 and 5 conferences throughout the year, E3 wouldn't hold as much gravity. But Microsoft builds anticipation so much for E3. Like, you just hold on by the seat of your pants waiting for that conference, because that's when they kind of blow it out of the water and they tell you everything for the year. And they build the anticipation for E3. So for them
I do give you that. They do build the anticipation for E3.
They do. And I was hoping these other games, Crackdown, State of Decay 2 come out before E3. But if they're gonna show those games at E3,
Frog, you still think that game's coming before E3?
Yep. I still think
State of Decay.
I think State of Decay is coming before E3.
Yeah, Rand thinks so too. I'm kind of not.
I think it's coming out. Did you make a deal about that? Because I want to go the opposite.
Yeah, I made a bet against Frog.
I said the initial bet was State of Decay is coming before Crackdown 3. He said Crackdown is going to come out before State of Decay. I said, I think State of Decay is farther in development than we think, and I think Crackdown has some issues because it's trying to run an original Xbox. So I said, I think that game will come out later in the year, and I said State of Decay will come out sooner than we think. That's what I said.
Yeah, and I do. What Kid's point though, he did say that Crackdown had a release date where Sea of Decay didn't. So that's always like the little like, because I totally agree with you, Frog. Like, I think State of Decay 2 is coming out before Crackdown, and I think we might get a beta at E3. But then when the Kid was saying about that had a release date where State of Decay already was spring, Yeah, I don't know.
You know, if we look at some of the people in their company too, they talk about things and they say, and the first thing they talk about is their lineup, and they go Sea of Thieves and coming next State of Decay. They don't say anything about Crackdown.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if that's a jab or if it's kind of like a throw in there. I think that Crackdown is coming this year, but I do think it's coming, no matter what form it's going to be.
Game Pass, so.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's going to be out before State of Decay. I think State of Decay is going to come out, and I got scores in my head for each game, but I think it's going to come out, and it's going to come out, and it's going to do, yeah. Oof, that's a whole nother subject.
I used to think Crackdown was going to come out in the fall, but now with Battlefield being announced and Red Dead being announced, that those games are going to carry well into the holiday season, into the fall as well.
Microsoft don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Microsoft.
if I'm them, I would steer clear of the end of
Microsoft
the year, man.
Is quick to push their games out in the fall. They love the fall.
Yeah.
Sony's like, let all the third party have the fall. We'll release, during the first and second quarters, maybe a little bit during, third, but most of the time they stay away from that fourth quarter. That late third to fourth quarter they stay away. Microsoft was like, here you go.
But now that they got
Days
Gone is going to be first quarter next year for PlayStation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what's up with that game. I don't know. I can't call it. Like a lot of me wants to believe.
You mean The Last
game,
of Us with zombies in it?
A lot of me wants to believe that game wants to come out this year, but I think that that's gonna be if it comes out, it's gonna be cutting it real close.
Yeah,
real close.
And I can see 2019 being
Avengers movie on Blu-ray.
I could see that.
That's probably gonna be like October. I see Spider-Man. Yeah, but anyway, but you got to think about it. Now that these games are coming to Game Pass, they're going to have that content kind of continuous. So they'll probably have State of Decay. They'll probably State of Decay 2 come out around E3, and then beta of Crackdown. Then you'll have Forza and Crackdown for the 2 games in the fall. So they'll have 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And that's your games, which is basically 2017, except Forza Horizon 3, but Forza Horizon 4, but
yeah,
it's that's basically.
I mean, because I think everybody was waiting to see when Red Dead was going to actually what the date was, and they said, okay, we can put our game here.
They put
and everything in this. Yeah. I think that's what everybody was looking for. Everybody's like, we just got to watch and see where Red Dead launches at, because that they're going to have a lot of advertisement for that game. And Sony's looking at it too, because if I'm not mistaken, they have the marketing rights. So Sony doesn't want to clash with their other games. But in a sense, I don't think Sony really cares with certain games, because look what they did with Knack 2. They put Knack 2 and it was like, here you go. And it was like, wait, Sony, you just threw Knack out there. But Knack was one of those type of games. It was like, well, it's not full price anyway. So if it sells, it sells. We'll just drop it in price and we'll get sales later. And that's kind of how it
Knack
was.
2 for fanfare. I'm almost positive that's what that was.
Oh, yeah, because I bought it. I'm not going to lie. When I heard about it, I was like, I'm buying that. I love Knack 1, so I bought it. But we'll see.
Yeah, because they wouldn't launch like Days Gone with Red Dead right there in the
quarter. They want Days Gone to get
they got the marketing to Red Dead, too, so they won't.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they said they don't even need a game for that quarter. So
no, they don't need a game.
They're going to come with that custom console, too, for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'll have a bump.
Yeah,
they'll have a sticker. They'll get it. They're printing the stickers now.
That Battlefront 2 one looks sharp though.
It's a cool looking console.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be another Sea of Thieves. There's gonna be a stress test tomorrow. What do you guys think about the blowout information that came out? Like it answered everything I've been saying about this game.
There's some things
but there's 2 things I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, there's like some things I'm not a fan of.
Like, I like it. It sounded good.
The character customization, I really wanted to be able to go in there and kind of do my own thing, my own character. And it kind of feels like I'm just gonna have like maybe 6 different body types, and like from what we saw in the beta, you're just gonna click the right bumper, and it's gonna keep changing them and just mix them up. I'm not really a fan of that. I'm kind of like, let me make my own part, but I'm gonna still try it regardless. I'm not gonna let it stop me. That's one of the things I didn't really particularly care for. What was the other thing? It was and I guess this isn't really, it doesn't affect me, but I'm kind of like, why? It's the whole, you can get like a dog or a snake or a chicken or whatever kind of pet, but you got to pay for it. I'm kind of like, why? Just let me get it. Let me earn it in game. I don't, hopefully they'll. I mean, to me, I'm just like, it's little things like that. Like, okay, the fact that let me have a parrot on my shoulder. I mean, a parrot on my shoulder. I don't want to pay a couple of dollars for this parrot. Just let me get it. If I earn it in game, let me get it. Like, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm just hoping they don't start, because they said they're not going to do a whole bunch of microtransactions. It's not going to be a loot box type of game.
It's not that. It's all cosmetics.
Right. It's all cosmetic. And usually when I get games like that, I don't buy anything into that. If I can't earn it in the game, I'm not buying it. So it really doesn't apply to me. But I'm kind of like, some of that stuff sounds cool. Like, I just want to have it. So if I can earn it, that'd be cool. But I don't think they're going to give you a way to earn some of this stuff. I think you strictly have to buy like the animals and stuff, which I'm kind of like,
yeah, they said
okay.
Yeah, maybe you can buy a frog.
Yeah, if it was $1, I think I'd buy a frog just because. Yeah.
I'm glad that my thing is that I'm glad that they confirmed the Kraken, which they kind of was showing some photos of it, and the fact that they confirmed it. I wish it was more of a raid and more structure, and that's kind of my number one concern, is that it doesn't seem there's no narrative. Cutscenes, whatever. I understand there's no cutscenes, but there's no story kind of mission structure. It's all just kind of, you got your missions, you go do what you want to do, and Kraken kind of is out there. It's not like a raid.
Yeah. I think that was interesting because
it's cool. It's definitely
the Kraken looked really interesting. I'm interested in that.
It's how you get, because it's not like, because Jez is right. It's not a mission that you have to go sign up for or activate. It's like you can literally get in the damn fucking ocean, and a storm comes and you just start seeing tentacles, and you just hope other boats are around to help.
And I hope they help. Like, they said that they could just attack you while you're getting attacked by the Kraken. So like, I just think there's gonna be a lot of grieving on there, and I'm hoping like they don't have safe zones. That was the other thing, that was the other thing that would bother me, is that people just waiting around to like steal your stuff, which kind of makes this like a one-player team kind of like good luck. I don't know how you're gonna survive with one-player teams unless
because you're gonna wait. You're gonna follow a boat at a distance. When you see everybody get off and go find the church, you're gonna get on their boat and steal their chest.
Oh, you
get back on.
There's a game that was already doing that.
Or they
called the Division in the Dark Zone.
Yeah, it's like the Dark Zone. Or they put you in missions where you basically you have like other boats that have single or two people on it. So like you don't have like crews always on there. They'll put you on a server maybe with the 1 or 2 player boats. So you kind of don't have a disadvantage. But, I'm a little bummed that there's no story, because you kind of want to jump in there, jump on there with a crew and do that, and not have to, like what happened to us where we couldn't even get to the mission because we were getting it's fun. Like, that's fun and exciting, but how many times is that going to happen? That you're never going to have any kind of
sorry about that.
And then the other thing is that customization is big, like the custom stuff, but they need to have a social like island where there's no combat, where you could like just hang out and drink and stuff, so you could kind of see other people's custom setups. Because what good is it if you have a cool gold hat or something you got on the mission when you're on a boat like miles away and the other team, nobody else could see you except your own crew, I guess. But like,
isn't there a section where you bring like when you bring like your
those islands, those trade islands?
Yeah, isn't that like a place where it's just like whatever? Like there's
but they said there's no safe zones. I don't know if it's around the outside, but
so there's not a safe zone in the game at all. So you can't.
No, there isn't. There's no safe
okay. So if you're on the island, turn your chest, and somebody kills you and takes your chest, that's it.
Yeah,
they got your chest.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
People that's hiding in bushes, like right next to the person, like where you got to check it in, and then I
can see some pretty devious stuff happening in this game. Man. But like I said before, I think this game is the person who wants to role play and do that streaming role play. This is their dream game. It really is. So
yeah. It was cool. And that Skull Island was the other thing they mentioned in that, where it's going to be kind of like almost like a challenge island where it's really challenging, and there's going to be a lot of loot there, and everybody's going to kind of converge on it, and it's going to be like this big, almost like a raid type thing, where you're going to go in there and try to get the loot. But again, people could take it from you, just like the Dark Zone. And, the Dark Zone sounds great in concept, but in practice, it was kind of crappy. People would just camp right in the front. Like, after a while, you like,
it didn't work.
Bullshit. I don't want to play this.
You couldn't go into the Dark Zone alone.
Yeah, and that's why I'm afraid it's going to happen to Sea of Thieves. Like, you're not going to just jump on and say, "Hey, let me play." When
I had a friend playing division. He had like all this like legendary stuff, like all stuff he earned throughout the campaign. He was like, now I'm done with the game, and he's like, I was like, oh, you're not gonna go to Dark Souls? He's like, nope. He was like, no, I worked too hard to even risk anything like that. To like, he's like, nope, I'll just leave it alone. So he's never touched the Dark Zone.
Yeah, I know. I tried Dark Zone a couple of times, but like, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure they'll balance it out. I do think that they are leaving it very open ended. Like they're going to be putting those missions in there and stuff. And in the last paragraph, they're kind of like, oh, we might want to add more monsters. We'll add the islands. We could change, and we could have weather effects or something like that. Which it sounds great, but it sounds No Man's Sky promises type thing. I'm like, put it in the game. I don't want to hear about what you plan on doing. Like it's cool, but give me the first main game, your initial vision of it, and then add that stuff as a bonus. But don't start teasing things that might not come out of this game, depending on the success of this game. And that's kind of the subscription cloud hanging over the head of this thing, where we're gonna add this. Well, they have a plan, man. They just said microtransactions are gonna come in 3 months in. That's what they said. 3 months in, they're gonna add microtransactions. So they already have the plan laid out.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, they know what they're doing.
It's kind of like, okay, initial purchases 3 months out, we're going to add microtransactions. That's like for the pets and stuff. And then, we'll move on from there. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be definitely it's probably the biggest risk that Microsoft is taking, by putting this thing in Game Pass day one. And, it's a new IP from Rare. We'll see what it is. But Rare is good at making. And I was telling us the Frog, like I was saying, like Rare was always good at making characters and content and kind of like story, like really cool, like iconic things. And this just seems very different from Rare because it's sort of like this. They made the environment, but there's not a lot of character-driven narrative or character-driven iconic figures or things like that they have always been known for. Banjo, Conker, Battletoads, even Killer Instinct characters like. They're good at making characters, and they're not making characters in this game. You're the character. They made the environment. So it's kind of we'll see how it goes. I know it's not the same Rare people, but that's what Rare was known for. So I don't know. We'll see.
You got to build your own pirate legend. I guess
exactly.
that's the objective of it. Yeah.
I'm curious. I can't wait to see it.
It would have been awesome if they implemented the avatars. Sorry to cut you off. I was saying like if they put those avatars,
that would have been actually cool.
And you could be your avatar in the Sea of Thieves. That would have been awesome because the avatars looked pretty detailed when they showed them. That would have been.
And I remember
really
the
awesome.
360 used to do that in some of their games. They would let you play as your avatar.
Well, yeah.
This
1 versus
this
100.
generation they haven't really implemented avatars in a lot.
That would have been
that would have been cool.
Move. Like then you can have your avatar. Then you'll buy stuff from the store. You could be wearing a Halo helmet on the pirate ship. Like
that might be enough to make Sea of Thieves like the most popular shit out there right now.
It would be, man.
That would actually be very interesting. That would. Really,
I just thought of it now. I was like, oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah, they do need to make a game where you use your avatar, and it's like a legit shit. Like
I might tweet out those guys like Phil and Aaron, just be like, "Yo, future when you launch your avatars, put them in."
When are those things coming out?
Put them in there.
I don't know when they're coming out.
I don't know. They teased them into the last year, but
man, in my 360, I loved my avatar. I did a lot of stuff with my avatar. Like when you got your games and you can unlock certain costumes, if you did certain things, that was really interesting. Got some stuff from what was that game? Portal, I think. And it was just really interesting. I was like, this is kind of cool because now you have a reason to, when you do certain things in game, to kind of fight and say, okay, I want this for my avatar. And then people say, well, how did you get this dragon? Or how did you get that? Or how did you get that? Oh, I was playing this game and they gave it to me. It's kind of like, the whole thought process of like, what's the game? Monster Hunter. If you got the Street Fighter 5 save on your system, you can, do the whole Ryu thing, which I think is kind of cool and get the Ryu stuff. And I think that's kind of cool. It kind of fits with their, their mission of their franchise and their games, take stuff from Gears, take stuff from Halo, they can even do stuff from Forza in some way. I know they could figure it out.
Those outfits for your avatar and stuff like that. And
right.
Those avatars look pretty detailed. Like they could definitely 3D models,
Oh yeah.
Like they did it before. And That would be pretty cool. Because, Nintendo always makes you, like, you could be your Mii in Mario Kart.
Right.
Things like that. Like, they throw those Miis around.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool, though. Hopefully they add it. Maybe they'll add it. That would be amazing. Because I would go crazy. Like, that would be so cool.
I think that'd be interesting.
All right. So, who revealed the Xbox One's sales to date, their total sales were at?
Oh, Z huge.
Z huge, right?
Yeah, Z huge.
Do we believe this?
Yeah. He's an analyst.
I think it's close. Like, it's not no fanboy guess, but like the guy does have numbers, and he does kind of have like access to things, and he put I don't know.
I mean, I just look at it like this. Me and my wife were having this conversation because I brought it up. She saw the conversation, and she saw it on I got an app on my phone called Appy Gamer. It gets me all gaming. So she saw it, and she was like, She's like, Xbox sold X amount of consoles. She's like, I thought they sold more than this. And I said, and so what I said to her, I said, I think it's the best guesstimate. I said, let's just say Microsoft, let's just say a wild guess out there, they sold 40 million. I said, that sounds about right because Sony's close to 80 million. I said, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. 30 something million, 36, 37. That sounds about close to it. By the time Microsoft hits, I think that, 40 mil and Sony's like, it's more than half. So it sounds about right. That sounds about right.
For the 2 years that's left in the gen, I mean, if that number is accurate, I mean, Microsoft will probably do maybe 40 million this gen. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. I think
Microsoft. I hate to say that. Yeah, I do think that is.
I think Microsoft is not going to hit 360 numbers at all.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not
to
even
it.
close.
Not even close to it.
And let's be real here. Like, it's because last year, it's not a coincidence when they sell good. It's when they have games dropping. It's not a coincidence.
Totally agree.
They literally took an L every month last year. Because they didn't. I mean, there was some they didn't even chart, kid. Remember 1 month they didn't even chart?
Yes, not at all.
Well, it's they got killed in Europe. They just got annihilated. Well, Japan, forget about it.
They're averaging what, 8 million, 8.5 million a year on sales.
About that, but there was some. I was listening to a lot of different people in the industry, and there was multiple things they said, and it's something I've been saying for a long time. Microsoft's fan base isn't as big as people think it is because their console install base last generation, people say, oh, they had this huge fan base. It's never been as big as Sony's. It's never been as big as Sony's, and
never.
And that's why
but people,
that's why you got to bring the Hijimo on stage.
Right,
that's
but people looked at last generation's lightning in the bottle for Microsoft and said they had this, and I think even Microsoft said we got this huge fan base. We're gonna come out with this message, and they came out. I think at the beginning of the generation really poorly, and it hurt them in a way because they did a PS3. They were super cocky. Hey, if you want freaking offline games, go get play 360. Now it was this stupid stuff they were saying, like this dumb stuff. And so they came out and they did a PlayStation 3. They stabbed themselves in the foot, but the difference is they didn't have that big audience, last generation they released a year early. Last generation, because they released a year early, they had a lot of people were like, we want to get these games out now. And so they were getting support.
They catered that 360 though to an international market. Like the Xbox One X was monstrous and it was expensive outside of the States. And they didn't launch in all the countries either.
Right, they didn't. It took their time.
As much as I hate to say, I think one of their biggest mistakes they've made this gen.
What's that?
Letting Titanfall go multi-plat.
Yep, that's a huge 100%.
Oh my god!
I feel like if they would have kept that, I feel like the second one would have had more hype going into it, and that could have sold consoles too.
Yep.
I
definitely would have.
I don't know how.
That's the thing. Like games like that would have really made people.
That could have been their console. That could have been their game this generation of their flagship.
And as much as I say this, and I know a lot of people say, no, it's not true. I don't care what anybody says. If Microsoft still had Bungie and they had the Destiny 2 their console, that game would have sold consoles.
I don't think Destiny 2 would be what it is.
I honestly think that game, Destiny itself, would have sold consoles.
As much as I hate to say it, Activision's greedy ass ways is the reason Destiny is what it is.
Oh, exactly.
For the good or the bad, because They're the ones that wanted the grind. I don't think
Yes.
Microsoft would have wanted that. Microsoft's Destiny would have been a couple months, and then it would have been over into the next expansion.
For sure.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
It would add a little drop off, like cliffhanger story.
Right, and it would just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. It would have said, "Here's this expansion. Here's it," and it would have just been kind of like a World of Warcraft thing. We're just releasing expansions now. Here you go. Here's another expansion.
Here's another expansion. Here, who else could have made did a kind of budgeting like I guess Activision did for marketing? There's not too many people.
I agree with
who
that.
can give a marketing like Activision. Like they literally
EA and Ubisoft are the only ones that really can come to mind. But Activision is great at marketing and products. They're really
come on. Look what they did with Skylanders. They let that thing go on.
That thing was
Spyro.
That thing took off quick.
They gave Destiny the kind of marketing that they give Call of Duty.
Yes, they did.
And they baited Lego and they baited baited Disney into this thing that they dropped out. And they did so well in marketing at Skylanders that Disney and Lego were like, okay, we'll do it too. And then
marketing. I mean, they made me buy that trash Destiny game twice. One and two.
Yeah, I got one and I was disappointed with the story, not the gameplay, not the graphics, mostly story. Then I was like, maybe 2 would be better. And I bought I bought Destiny 2. And, my kids are big fans of Destiny. And I see the mark they're going after because they're not really going after guys like me. They're going after the younger children.
Here's the question. There is a rumor going around that that Disney is pulling a license from Activision with that in. Microsoft swoops in and grabs that.
Oof. I don't think that'll happen. Because Disney and this is me. I don't think it would be smart, and I don't think Disney would do it because they would look at install base and say, "Nah, we got."
I don't even think it would be that. I think they would offer to put it on Steam and Windows 10 and PlayStation and Xbox, and I think Disney would be okay with that as long as they signed a big enough check.
Yeah. If it's on Steam, yes, it would have to be on Steam because they're gonna have to recoup. But Disney's gonna look and say, "Well, Sony has this install base. You got this. If it's in Steam, hell yeah." And that'll have to be a big check. I mean, that's some money, but I just don't think Microsoft's going to pony up that money. If they're not ponying up money to grab some of these IPs from THQ that were just sitting out there, I think they could have took some of those IPs.
I still think they need to get Coalition and buy the Army of Two IP to make an Army of Two.
To do that, yeah. But there's a lot of franchises I think they can go out there and
imagine Army of Two with Gears graphics and Gears gore.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if this E3 is like last E3. It seems like that they're focusing more on the indie scene and trying to grab those people.
It's like last E3 with Microsoft. I will come out openly say I'm done with Microsoft, and I'm not even joking.
If this E3 is like last E3, I don't think it's going to be.
I already got half a foot out the door. I'm like 1 foot out the door.
You were pushed out of the plane like months ago, Jeff.
Yeah,
I just want to see.
After the last season 3, they pushed me out, man. I went total just anti. I'm pissed at them until they straighten this shit out.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, I'm not gonna lie, like I do want to see what I have an X for. Like
Army of Two, the first one, the first two Army of Two Play Rock sold really well.
That was good.
Yeah, Army
that game had hype. That game had hype.
And I think if the Coalition made an Army of Two and it was exclusive to Windows and Xbox and it was remade from the ground up, not a remaster, a remake, and they put their own twist on it, it had like the Gears gore to it, I think it would sell well. That's legitly the Xbox player base, and you put 2-player co-op in.
That's exactly what they would buy.
Yeah,
the Xbox fan base.
Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Because you bought something up.
I was done with Super Lucky's Tales. Yeah, I was done when Super Lucky's Tales was announced. I didn't even wait for it to come out.
Let me ask y'all this question because you brought it up. You said remasters, remakes. There's a problem in the industry where this has been a topic, and I've made a little video about it. It's been a problem in the industry with remaster, remakes, reboots, reimaginings, and I've seen people who don't understand what a remake is, what a remaster. Like, okay, I got Secret of Mana, which is clearly a remake. It's not a remaster. But then IGN does a review on it and calls it a remaster. I was like, you're freaking idiots. Like, you call the game a remaster and it's a remake. It's not even the same game. Like, it's the same game as far as the premise of the story and everything is in line, but it's a different game. It has full voice, I'm just like remade track, a soundtrack, you know, there's everything about the game is different. I'm just
a
like,
remaster is something like I would even say The Last of Us. That's a remaster.
Oh, that's definitely
a remake is something like Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, like because the argument started with Shadows of the Colossus, and I was like, it's a remake. It's not even the same game. It's not even on the same game engine. It's the same game in a sense, but it's not running the same game engine. They put new things in the game, so it qualifies as a remake. And people were like, it's just a remaster. I'm like, but they already did a remaster. So, you know, it's like you doing a remaster of a remaster. Come on. Like and I've seen this, and this is not just on podcasts. This is legitimate, like GameSpot, IGN. They're calling games that are like legitimate remakes, remasters, or they'll say something that's like, you know, a remaster, remake. Like I think they're confused as what is what, or what like a reimagining. Like I had this argument with this guy on Twitter, and he's just an idiot. I tried to explain to him, like, Metroid Prime is a reimagining of Metroid. He was like, no, it's not. It's just a remake. I'm like, you idiot. It's a reimagining. They imagined it in a whole different way. The other Metroids were side-scrolling platformers. This one is a first-person shooter. It's a reimagining. No, it's a total reboot. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? And so I think that people are I don't know if people are just confused about the rewords and what is what. But I'm like, how can you be confused? Like, you can clearly see when you pop that game in and you're like, this is a different game. Like, I'm playing Secret of Mana now, and I'm like, yeah, this is.
They redid the music and stuff like that. But yeah, like remasters are like if you do like resolution increases and then you make the frame rates and things like that. Like that's more of that. Yeah. Whereas, you know, remaster, like I would think that in Gears of War, I would say that was a remake.
Yeah, but that was Microsoft. It's a remaster. Microsoft,
because they changed they didn't change the engine.
They consider it a remaster.
Just want to give a shout out to the people that are just joining the chat. See Porter Rock 77's in the chat.
Shout out to Porter Rock, man. What up, man?
Xbox guy, the finest always.
I know that. Porter Rock asked the question like, how good Army of 2 do? To jump back to that, it didn't get such great reviews. Like it came out as a Metacritic of 74 on PS3 and a 72 on Xbox 360. But it was okay with the sales, but it was a unique idea though. I don't know. I'm trying to look at the sales of it. I'm not going to VG charts because I know
of Army of 2.
Yeah, Army of 2, the first one.
The game had a hype back then, man.
It did pretty well.
They gave that game out last month on Game of Gold, right?
Like the multiplayer, yeah.
Yes, I actually got almost. I got a lot of freaking achievements in that game.
But it was cool. Like the multiplayer was cool, where you had the 2 versus 2. That was pretty.
Yeah, it was horrible. I remember playing Army of 2 on the Xbox 360, and then when I switched over to my PS3 in like the generation, I was like, I'm gonna get it again. And then that game was horrible on the PS3. This is when the PS3 didn't even have trophies. Like a lot of people don't know. A lot of PS3 games.
Oh yeah, they didn't have trophies.
Yeah, it didn't have trophies, and never updated the game that had trophies. They went back and did
there was actually a game called Enchanted Arms. That I played on the Xbox 360, and it had trophies, and the PS3 didn't have any kind of. I mean, it had achievements. Yeah, the PS3 didn't have any trophies for it.
I remember that.
Later on.
What's up, Potter?
Hey, what's up, Metal Gear? If you remember, Metal Gear Solid 4 didn't have trophies. Trophies didn't come
and then they added it later. Right?
Yeah, it was like 2000, late late 2008 or early 2009. So it was like a good 3 years.
Damn.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, when you think about it, people forgot,
People forgot about that.
That's Microsoft. That was definitely a Microsoft innovation, adding trophies, and some people say that PlayStation fans were like, we just accept what Sony did. I'm like, that's not true. I remember when Sony launched the PS3 without Rumble. You remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
It had no Rumble.
Came out with another controller.
I remember when that announcement came. Right, I got banned. Pissed. I got banned from the Sony forum for like a week. No, I'm gonna be honest. This is true, and I didn't say anything wrong. This is what I did. I went to the MLB the show, thread. Right. This is when we all used to interact on forums, right? Mm-hmm. So I went. So once Sony made that announcement that Rumble's last gen, you don't need it.
Last gen, yeah.
So I log on to my PlayStation account, my US. I go to the forum. I go to the MLB thread. So then I just type, in MLB the show, we use Rumble to help us feel where the strike zone is at. How are you guys gonna do that now on PS3? Next, I was like, what?
I will say one thing.
I was like, what are we doing here? I'm mad for
I will say I will say one thing that this kind of went into like crazy area that Planet Xbox don't normally go, but fuck it. But when I play Until Dawn, one thing I really hope Xbox take kind of adapts is that like sensor that's on the PlayStation. Like when I'm playing Until Dawn, and they're like, "Don't move your controller." Like they
I don't like that shit.
Don't move your controller.
I don't like that shit because I suffer from mild Tourette's, and I don't know. Every time it told me not to move my controller, it was just like, "Oh shit!"
I lost probably 2 people playing Until Dawn because I couldn't keep that shit.
Damn.
Like at the very end, I was trying to keep. What was the? Damn.
Put it on the ground.
People killed
It was the climber chick. What was her name?
Not the Asian chick.
No, she died. She fell in a grinder and got killed on my PlayStation.
Oh man, she didn't die in my.
I know what's funny is I didn't press a button to jump over the grinder because I was looking at my phone and she just went straight in.
Oh,
I did one was investigate the noise and she got killed. I was like, oh,
no,
damn.
It was Jake and that chick, Ashley and that dude that was alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta get my chick through here, man. Like, fuck Jake, fuck those two. Like, they died, she got to live. Well, I put my controller down because it was a cutscene. And I was looking on my phone, and it was like, "Don't move your controller." I was like, "Well, my controller's on my bed, so I'm not gonna move." Yeah. And then I picked up the controller. How about another fucking "Don't move your controller"? And I'm sitting here like sitting as still as I can. And then that red shit came up. Man, I was like, "Dude, I didn't move. What's going on?"
There was a guy with the glasses with the shotgun, and then like after the other guy gets his head blown off, you're like running back, and I got so my inversion was all messed up, and I'm like, and I missed it, and
as
my head, and I'm like, holy crap.
As much as I hate to say it, people are going to get really mad in this chat. Until Dawn's the best game I've played on PlayStation so far.
Okay.
That's a good game.
Awesome.
You're not the first one I hear that.
It's a sleeper hit.
You're not the first person to hear that they enjoyed that game more than anything else on PlayStation.
I remember when that game came out. You couldn't find it in stores. You could not find it in stores.
I like the Telltale series games, and that was like on steroids. Until Dawn.
Yeah, that was so much better.
You mean PlayStation game this generation or overall?
No, just this generation.
All right.
Yeah,
Really?
you definitely got in
trouble. Mine, I just bought Ratchet and Clank and the Order. So I don't think the Order is going to do it, from what I heard.
You just got Bloodborne too.
Have you played Bloodborne yet?
I love Bloodborne.
I've been struggling playing Bloodborne. I've been struggling keeping myself playing Bloodborne.
I can't do that.
I'm telling you, man, you gotta play with somebody else, man.
Play The Last of Us. Oh my god.
I like Bloodborne. Don't get me wrong. I do, but I like Dark Souls better. Like I just.
I
played
Uncharted 4 and the level where he's doing the one.
Alex, the title screen of Until Dawn is better than Crackdown at this point.
Oh wow.
Yo, so I'd say Uncharted, like we did that. I did that level where he's like in the mud and stuff and jumping around like on the different cars and stuff. After that level, I put down the controller. My big ass stood up in the room, and I was just clapping. I just was clapping at the TV. I was like, that was amazing. I was like clapping at. But man, I was like, that was amazing.
I think what I liked about it is because I really like, what's the word? I'm like suspense stuff, and they really made you think that whole movie was about something else, and then like they completely reversed that shit. And I'm like, I didn't see that coming. Like I just did.
Yeah. I think Until Dawn is it's the type of game where people will be like, if I was in this is the decision I would make. And then you realize it's not so easy.
Right.
You're like, don't go in the closet. I'm like,
gaming, I haven't got Horizon yet.
Yo, if you like Until Dawn, you got to try the Hidden Agenda.
I haven't got Neo.
Hidden Agenda is really good.
It's simpler, but it's a good story.
Yeah,
I didn't get past chapter 4. I was playing with my wife, and she was like, who cares? Nothing's gonna happen to her. She fucking got arrested, and ended the game like halfway through. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, there's like 12 more levels.
You know what's funny?
Yeah, the game can just end. That's funny.
Yes, it can.
What's his name? The Asian's boyfriend. What was his name?
The black guy.
I tried so hard to save that to save her when I was him, and like I kept like going out of my way to save her when she was falling from that tower.
Yeah,
and then like I literally did everything I can, and she fell. I was like, "Whoa, that bitch is dead." And then I go up, and then he gets killed because I tried to save her so much, and then I find out because I hated the Asian, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I'm glad she's dead. And then, the next chapter, it's like, yo, why is she alive? What's going, dude? Come on, man.
Yeah, you made me think that she died. That was
And I definitely apologize for the spoilers, but that game came out in a minute. If an Xbox dude played it before you guys need to burn in hell.
Yeah,
it's a good game. There's a lot of great games this generation.
I'm trying to say, I forgot how many people I kept alive. I think I kept at least 4 to 5 people alive in that game.
Yeah,
it's
hard though.
You can't really spoil Until Dawn because
because it changes.
So many things. There's so many things you could do.
Right.
Yeah. I know that game really does stick to like the horror lore because there was one scene where the guy who played the whole prank pretty much.
Yeah.
There's one scene where you have to choose whether you kill him or the other. Yeah. I knew that if I picked the girl, she's actually gonna end up dead. Yeah. I knew. I had a feeling. I'm like,
me.
You know what's funny?
Porter Rock.
So that way she survives.
Yeah,
You know what's funny? I didn't even know that.
The girl, bro.
I didn't know what was going on.
I knew it was gonna happen. I want her to live, and then she dies. I knew.
What was that dude's name? Ashley lived on mine. What was the dude that had a thing for Ashley?
Wasn't Nick? What's his
name?
Nick?
Yeah, was it Nick?
Was it Nick?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't Nick.
I was like, my dude got to get some. Like, Ashley.
Yeah,
man.
That
I
game
literally killed that dude because I wanted a fictional character to get laid.
But you know what happened with that game? That game came out at a time it didn't get advertised, but word of mouth got around, and that game started pulling traction in. People started going out like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, it was sold out. I had to go.
You couldn't find it in stores.
That was a good streaming game too.
Yeah, real good streaming game.
A lot of streamers was getting interaction from the chat and be like, "All right, guys, what you want me to do?" And then that was a good streaming game. I think even Sony made a statement that they didn't realize how popular the game would be, and then that they didn't put that much advertisement behind it.
Well, that you said something that kind of was interesting. You said like streaming and interaction. There's a couple of games on the PlayStation that when you stream them, that people can actually interact with the game you're playing. And I don't know why they didn't do that with that game. I thought that would have been really cool for people to interact with the stream.
Jake, that's his name. It was Jake.
Right, Jake. There you go. Yeah, and I thought that would have been a perfect game because
make your controller vibrate. How be crazy?
Right. Yeah, the stream can interact with you playing the game, and you don't know what cool. they're choosing or they're doing. I thought that would.
They tried that. Cool. I thought Sony had some sort of they tried implementing that in some games, and then
they did it in a couple, but I guess there just wasn't enough.
Games they were trying.
Right.
And also, Xbox tried to do with iDob, like with that whole the hashtag stuff. That game came out in the Super Bowl 2014. It was like you could do hashtags and they'll change the level, flip it up as people were watching it.
I want those people to make another game from Until Dawn.
Yeah,
they made a lot.
They made the Impatient.
Yes,
for VR.
I heard the Impatient is actually not bad.
I don't want a VR game. I want a real game.
I don't know, man. The controls they said is rough. I was ready to buy it, but they said the controls are pretty bad with the.
Yeah, but I heard the game itself isn't bad.
I want the story because it's a prequel to Until Dawn.
Right.
And then also, and then I think we already mentioned Hidden Agenda.
Yes,
that's their game
pretty
too.
decent.
That's pretty good.
And they made the VR game the other one.
That's actually great.
I got to go get something real quick, but I want to leave you guys with this discussion point real quick. If you were to choose the top, we'll say, I don't want to use Last of Us and Uncharted because they're made by the same dev. Let's say the people who make Infamous, that's Guerrilla, right?
No,
Infamous that's Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch, Guerrilla.
Guerrilla makes Killzone and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War dev, and The Last of Us. If you were to have the three biggest, obviously Forza, Gears, and Halo. If you were to pick devs to make the opposite games, who would it be?
Oh, you mean flip them around?
Yeah. Yes. What devs could make the other games as accurate or better than the ones that are actually making it?
Shit.
Naughty Dog make Halo.
Naughty Dog, I would say Naughty Dog would definitely have to. They would have to make.
There you go.
Have turn 10 make Gran Turismo.
Wait, so what is it? Polyphony makes
that was easy.
Digital, man. Like Gran Turismo doesn't come out enough to really whet my appetite for racing games. And I'm like, damn, Forza. Gran Turismo has been so stagnant in the market that Forza has become my racing game of choice. And I'm like, damn, like how did that happen? It's just because Forza does a Call of Duty. They come out every year, and I don't need a racing game every year, but it's a nice gesture. And I'm like, okay, well, I got one. I'll play this for 2 years. Gran Turismo comes out every 4 or 5 years, and I'm like, damn. By the time you come out, and then you come out with all these issues. And it's like I felt like this last Gran Turismo was like an A-spec game. Yeah. I was like, damn, where's all the stuff in it? Like,
you know what? Those hardcore Gran Turismo fans were still playing this shit on PS3.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I still played it, but I was like, man, and the game is, yes, they patched a lot of stuff, but I'm like, where's my weather effects? Like Forza does, and I'm gonna be totally honest. I like the Horizon series, but I'm more of I'd rather play more simulated. So the number series, like I got 7 and I was like, this game is amazing. And I was like, Gran Turismo, where's my weather effects? Like, where's my car damage like this? Like, so Forza just does so many things better than, to me, than Gran Turismo. And Gran Turismo, Polyphony Digital needs to make other games, like other than racing. They need to do something different.
This is one advantage I give, and I say this to a lot of PlayStation guys, because I say I'm not into racing games, but I always give the nod to Forza up front because I say this. Let's say, like, for example, when Forza 5 first came out, right?
Hey, it
was a lukewarm reception, right? But at least within 2 years, you got a new Forza, and they did so much better. Yes. So I asked the PlayStation guys, if Gran Turismo Sport flops, what do you do? Because you're not going to see another one for 6 years.
You can't do
like you
buy an Xbox, bro.
You can't do anything to it because
you know what I'm saying?
Gran Turismo is what I think it's Sony's until Uncharted 4. Gran Turismo was Sony's biggest selling IP.
If they at least kept like Drive Club in rotation, you could at least like have that.
Drive Club is a good game. I mean, day one, yes, I had problems, but Drive Club is a really good game. I really like that game. Yeah, it's not as bad as people made it seem. It was rough around the edges when it came out, and in its state now, like Drive Club is a fantastic game.
There's a lot of races in it though. Now they added a lot of stuff to it.
I love the motorcycle races. Like Drive Club is a really fun game. But
that's what they need to add in Forza. They need to add some motorcycles. Like they need to add.
Hopefully they do that with Forza Horizon 4. I want motorcycles. I want cops.
Right.
And I want
cops. Yeah.
That was the rumor that they're gonna put like a cops and chasing blah 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 kind of. That would be interesting. But I kind of agree. Like I think Polyphony Digital. I think Gran Turismo comes out so far apart. It's kind of like a Final Fantasy game. We get them so far apart. It's like by the time it comes, we're like and if it's not good, it's like damn.
Yeah, Gran Turismo's got that cult following though, man. It's got a cult following.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just a hardcore following that just. Big time.
I remember what was that 3 CDs they had for Gran Turismo 2? It was like
I
remember that, man.
I remember that.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 had that, like the book, like the box. It was
a lot of PlayStation 1 games had like 3 or 4 CDs.
Final Fantasy 7, it was like 6 of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
7, 8, next 9. CD. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they were all like that.
Do you remember during the 360 PS3 era? That was like the big thing. PS3 got Blu-ray, so we don't need this switching.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are we arguing about? Like,
because the 360 was still doing. They were still shipping games at like 3 or 4 discs. I think like Blue Dragon, and
that was rare. I'm like, what are we arguing about? Like,
and then Sony was like, well, we got Blu-ray, we don't have to do that. And I was like,
do anything. Like,
it's a new format. Yeah,
it's funny you say that because this gen, I don't even own a single disc.
We got a problem going on in that chat.
Oh
yeah. I see that. So somebody block all these spam accounts, man.
Oh
I can't block it. It won't let me. I think
somebody spamming.
Oh, I can't. Yeah. Why can't I block it?
You can't block it?
Oh, no. You know why? My YouTube keeps. I'll keep getting logged the fuck out. Like, hold on.
Like, Jesus Christ, this is like so unnecessary.
Yeah, YouTube is tripping, bro. But if I had anybody do another franchise,
no, we noticed. It's just the conversation. I couldn't get people to calm down for a second because the conversation was so lit.
But just get Naughty Dog to do Halo, bro. That's all I need.
Yeah, I want Naughty Dog to do Halo, but pound for pound, I think that as far as to me, maybe not the gameplay, but graphically, like I wouldn't mind Guerrilla doing a freaking Gears of War because Killzone has always been an amazing looking game. One thing, and nobody can take.
So who's making Halo?
It will be Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
No, I put Naughty Dog on Gears to give him a decent.
I think Naughty Dog would be a better Gears. Like, have they ever made a first person shooter? Like, do you want to be responsible?
I don't think they made a first person shooter.
I don't think they have.
Like I understand, like you know, that's
a
different kind of perspective games.
I think
but
Gears,
like they only
Gears.
get one chance. I'm saying they only get one chance.
Oh, they only get one chance, then yeah, okay, Gears, that makes sense because they have the third person genre, and it'd be like Guerrilla, you go make a Halo game. And
no reason why I put them on Gears because what's one criticism that people give Gears?
The story.
Yeah,
the story.
So Naughty Dog, you know, that's one of those like they have like the perfect combination.
They'll have like, me crying over Marcus.
Man, that story would be so freaking deep.
You'd
be crying at the end of it.
God, dude, what is going on?
Why I say Naughty Dog should do Halo. Because man, I mean, 343 has done, I think, a shitty job like with the story, and they can bring back Halo back to life as far as the story, man. Like to make a strong narrative again.
Well, you know what's going on with a lot of these companies. A lot of the writers are either leaving or their contract is up, and they're going to other places to write other stories. And or the companies are like, we no longer want anything in a sense to kind of do what you like. Hey, go do your own thing. And some of these writers are going to other companies. Like, wasn't it? Is it Amy Hennig or I think she went to go
right? Well, Amy Hennig went to EA.
EA to write the Star
Wars
story.
And
they
canceled the game.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, I heard somebody say something today in a conversation. They were talking about the new Battlefield coming out, and they were talking about Anthem, and they were like, oh yeah, they're not making another. You know, what's it called? Dragon Age. I was like, they already announced they're making a new Dragon Age. Unless I'm, read that wrong. They already said, hey, the original BioWare team is like, I like Inquisition. I thought it was a really well made game, but some people hated it. And I was like, for a new game to a new platform, like I had no problem with it. It was a huge step in the direction it was going, but some people didn't like Dragon Age Inquisition. But I'm like, the game sold well. Oh, and by the way, Army of Two, the very first one sold 2 million copies on the Xbox alone. That's just on the Xbox alone. On PS3 and the Xbox combined together, I think it's close to 4 million.
That's not bad.
That's not bad for a game to come out. Now the second Army of Two, it only sold like I think 3.5 mil.
I accidentally unhidden them.
But yeah, I think that back to what you were saying about Microsoft sales. Like I think they're about close. You know, if we give Microsoft 40 and we see Sony's come up on 80, that sounds about right. That does sound about right. I know a lot of people are gonna say, no, there's no way, but that kind of does sound about right because this generation, they've been doing decent, but by the end of the generation, I don't think they're going to reach 360 numbers. So I think Sony's going to way surpass that. I don't think Sony's going to reach, and this is just me. A lot of people are saying Sony's going to reach PlayStation 2 numbers. I think they're going to surpass PS1. I think they're going to surpass Wii. I think they'll get close to PS2 numbers by the time that it's fizzled out. I think they may get close to it, but I don't know if they'll surpass it. And they may surpass it.
What's the PS2? 180 million?
150.
155.
155.
155, right. So I think they can do it at the end of the generation when that thing is like $149. That thing is going to fly off the shelves because it has a huge catalog of games. People are going to, because look how long until the PS4 and Xbox One that people are still holding to their 360 and PS3. Yeah. And the reason that is because that generation lasted so freaking long and had such a huge library that people were like, I have a 10-year-old console and I have such a huge library. I don't want to jump to a new generation. And people are just starting to really, that's why you're seeing the surge of like PS4 selling in droves, Xbox selling in droves, because it's like these people are like, okay, well, the console is $199. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it now because I can get rid of my 360, or I can just take my PS3 and put it on the back burner over here and get a PS4 when it's $199. This Christmas, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see a price reduction once again to $199. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to permanently drop these prices down for the S and the Slim model down to like maybe a $249 or something like that, or maybe like a lower $229.
$199.
Yeah, at Christmas they're gonna be $199 or cheaper again. And I think you're gonna see the same thing with the X. You're gonna see the price come down maybe $50. The same thing with the Pro, $50. But and I think I don't know who was saying it. I don't know if it's Porter Rock or who was saying it. If it was Rand, somebody had said something, and I said at the beginning of the generation in 2013. I said I think by the end of this generation, when it's all said and done, one of the two or maybe both will have a diskless system. It'll be a system with a huge hard drive. Here's 2 terabyte. It's a diskless system, and here you go. It's $120, $129. because I could see them doing that. I really could see them doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they even do that next generation and say, well, here you go, guys who want to have your disc, and if you don't want disc, you just want a digital. Hey, it's $100 cheaper. Because I'm just one of those guys, like, I buy everything digital. I don't have a problem because I can put it on a hard drive. My only problem is, like, if it was like the Switch where my console dies and I can't back anything up, then it sucks. But other than that, I'd be cool with a digital console as far as not having a disc. I don't use the disc drive on my console to play Blu-ray movies. I don't watch Blu-ray. I stream everything as far as movies.
Until they actually kill retail.
Right. But I mean,
brick and mortar store is gonna have a huge problem with that.
I would say the only reason why I don't see that happening because the truth is, putting a disc in a console is not a lot of money. It's like $15.
It's not.
Right. So like would saving $15 be worth the juice? Would the juice be worth the squeeze? Saving $15? Because even if you buy one disc game at $60, they already made the money back on just one disc. So is it really risking that, and then when you think about it, are you going to do two separate schools, a discless school and then a disc-based school? How much money would that cost to create?
I mean, let me ask you this, because the Xbox has the 4K Blu-ray player in it. So could Microsoft kind of save face and say, look, here's our discless console. It's a Xbox. It's the X. It's just the X, whatever. Let's say Super Slim or whatever. It has no disc drive, and now it's $100 or $150 cheaper.
But that's the thing, though. It won't be.
That's what I'm wondering.
Because the disc ain't $150.
No,
it's like $15. So
can you imagine?
So you're not gonna be like, hey, we got an Xbox One X for $485, and then we got the one with the disc. That doesn't really make sense.
You know what though? Can you imagine what retailers bitching about Game Pass? Imagine if these manufacturers come out and say, by the way, sell our discless console.
Yeah, they won't sell
it. They wouldn't.
That's true. Walmart. I don't even think Walmart would sell it. They'll be like, what are we gonna do with this?
Yeah,
it's like Best Buy, GameStop. They'll be like, yeah, sure, sell it on your own.
Yeah, because at that point, you're not making. There's nothing to sell in store.
Yeah, because you gotta look at it from their perspective. If you have a disc console, then the consumer that went to went to Walmart and bought that console, they're gonna come back and most likely buy games.
Right.
The consumer that buys a discless console ain't coming back to you.
Of course, and like Best Buy, like they know gaming is gonna take an X amount of square footage in their store. It's got to be worth it. It's got to be worth the investment.
Right.
Yeah. And I know some people. Are like, oh, well, you could buy a digital code. And like, this is what's funny. Like, other than as a gift, what's the point of you walking to a store and buying?
There's no reason
code?
If you're hooked to the internet.
Yeah,
there's no reason.
Just do it directly from the console.
There's the only reason you would do from the store is if they're like, well, we give you
it's cheaper
incentive, or we give you extra DLC items or something like. Other than that, there's no incentive. I mean, because look at GameStop. GameStop, like, they're doing that now where you can buy every friggin' thing you want digital. I'm like, well, what's the point of me buying it digital at the store when I can just buy it on the console?
Yeah, they did.
Like, I don't need to pre-order it at the store when I can pre-order it on my console.
They want your trade-ins to it, though.
Right.
Like,
well, that's what they're trying to.
That could be one.
That's what they did.
All right.
Yeah.
Definitely hate to interrupt, but we got to really start slowing this down and closing out the show.
Oh yeah, because we go on.
It's almost 10:30.
Yeah. Oh, remember we started at like 9. So
we started at 9.
Yeah,
we started at 9. Oh, we did start at 9.
Yeah, we did start at 9.
I just want to mention one. I just want to mention one thing for the console sales for the Xbox One. I know because some people are comparing 360. We also have to remember 360 has certain advantages the Xbox One didn't. Number one, it came out first, so it had a whole year by itself to gain steam. Right?
Yeah, they were 10 million.
Yeah. Close to it about, right?
Yeah.
So it had a big following right from the start because there was no competitor, at least in terms of that gen. And then when a competitor did come out, the PS3, it was a disaster for Sony. $600, no big killer app, no rumble,
no trophies, bad online support,
need 2 jobs,
enemy crab,
giant enemy hit him in the weak spot. I mean, it was bad, Ridge Racer. It was bad. And then on top of that same month the PS3 launch, Gears of War launched. So it's like, why would I buy? And then that E3 in 2006, Phil Spencer, Peter Moore, he says, hey, Grand Theft Auto's coming same day. And we got 2 exclusive downloadable content.
Oh my God.
you know, everything was going 360's way. You know, it was like, and then on top of that, 360 was available in more regions. It didn't have to worry about a camera that didn't translate in language, because I know that also impacted Connect. You know, like it released later, like a couple of months later in certain other countries, because they had to do the whole language, you know, whatever, like you know. So there was a lot of setbacks for Connect that it had that the 360 didn't have. 360 had a lot of, to be honest, if it wasn't for the Red Ring of Death, 360 pretty much had a smooth generation. That was the only blemish.
Yep.
It really had
a big blemish, but
it was huge.
Yeah,
but
that was
reality,
big blemish,
if it wasn't for that, it would have coasted that whole entire gen with no issues. Japanese games, new games, the arcade was better. I mean, even Burger King was giving
the Burger King game.
Sneak King.
I remember that. Yeah.
There was 360. Like you couldn't walk anywhere without something about games. Like you got to walk on a game.
Zelo put it in the store.
It was a lot of games for that thing, and it was, you know, it was just popular. It had Madden. It had the Call of Duty marketing rights. You know, it got every game first, and sometimes it wasn't even because of Microsoft marketed. It got games first because the PS3 was just hard to develop for, so it came out like 4 months later. Man. Yeah, so games were coming out later simply because it was just it was harder.
I mean, if you guys remember, one of the biggest things that came out last generation, Skyrim didn't even have its DLCs until the last one on PlayStation.
Oh my gosh, that was horrible. Every Bethesda game on the PS3 just ran bad. Yeah, it didn't run well. And I'm a huge fan of their games, but they didn't run well on the PS3. But 360 had great advertising. Every time you turn a commercial on, it could be a multiplat game, and that Xbox symbol come up, and you'd be like, "Oh, so much." And so it kind of gave you that mindset. This is only on the 360, and that's what I think that Sony's doing this generation. Like I watched that God of War trailer, that basketball game. That's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And just people who don't even play games watching that God of War trailer on that basketball court were just mesmerized at that thing. They were like, is this a movie coming out? What is this? Like people were, and that's what Microsoft did last generation, what Sony's doing this generation. Like I kind of feel like they just reverse roles.
What they did though is they choked out Sony with the third party, and then Sony just said, "Hey, we got to go to the drawing board and just make games."
And they made a whole bunch
Mod
of
Nation Races. They made Last of Us. They just put everything internal because they're like, "Hey, nobody's gonna develop for the cell. We got to do it." Like
exclusive after exclusive after exclusive.
They had their backs against the walls. I mean, when I saw Mod Nation Races and PlayStation Battlestar Royale, I was like, okay, now Sony's desperate. I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, man, but that's what it takes. You just have to.
That's the part that like blows my mind. It's like they lost focus of what their entire foundation of the Xbox is built on. It's like multiplayer.
Why do you have to get your ass whooped just to like do the shit
they lost focus on?
It's not the bottom line, and it affects the numbers, and they go, "Oh, we got to change something."
You know what though? It had a lot to do with Xbox Live, though.
It had a lot to do with Xbox Live and it being so successful in the original Xbox and transitioning over to the 360 and showing that this is going to work. I remember having a 360, and I'm a huge fan of Dead or Alive. And I remember when Dead or Alive 4 came out, and I freaking like crap my pants when this game came out. Like when
Guidance,
like all these exclusive games that I couldn't play, and I was like, I can play as Master Chief in Dead or Alive. Are you serious?
Oh yeah, remember
it blew me away.
Master Chief. It was a
female Spartan. I'm sorry, it was a female Spartan. She was big as hell though.
That was the thing with 360. 360 also did things besides the big, advertisement and all that. It did things better than PS3 that people never thought would happen. For example, I remember when Virtua Fighter 5 came out on PS3, right? Of course, Sony fans were talking shit. But then when it came out on 360 with online, people were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yep.
You play this game online?
Yep.
Like that changed the game.
And that's the part that like I'm sorry, the last game I see that was really, that gave Microsoft any kind of edge besides PUBG recently was Titanfall.
Yeah.
And,
They needed
and that's the part that blows my mind. Like I get it. People want they want those story-oriented games, but we're talking, when it comes to Sony, we're talking the majority or the minority want single-player games. But Microsoft, let's be real, it's the exact opposite.
They could have went all into that
different
because that was the game that they showed during the launch of the next generations. That people like, whoa, what is this? And they jumped out of the.
Why did they put it on 360? I'm like,
that
doesn't make
sense.
sense.
That's what happens when you have 80 million. You know, we're gonna find this out when PlayStation jumps to the 5. The 4 is gonna be in our back pocket for a long time, man. They're not dropping 100 million people.
No, they're not. But the other thing is, I just hope
those
that
people are coming along for the ride.
I hope that when they do these big jumps to the next consoles, I kind of look and say, I hope that they don't kind of if Sony doesn't get cocky, and let's just say Sony doesn't get cocky,
kids start modding other people in the chat, please.
If Sony doesn't get cocky and Microsoft and Sony can release their consoles around the same time like they did last generation, which is not too typical. That's not really typical. This generation is not a typical generation. Like most of the time, consoles don't come out so close. Like one of the two is going to come out before the other. I think Microsoft is going to want to be there before Sony, but it's always a theory. Well, first to 10 million, but I think last generation, and I always go back and I say in my mind, with Sony coming out with the PS3 at the same time as the 360, would it have mattered? With the red ring of death being the biggest factor, it would have definitely mattered because people would have looked at that console and Sony would have said, because Sony would have capitalized on it. They would say, well, shit, we don't have exclusives.
There was nothing on the shelf, man. There was nothing. It was a 360. That was it.
Right. And the only thing that Microsoft did wrong really was that red ring was its biggest disaster. And thank God they didn't have any competition because they recouped that real quick and was like, hey, we got to fix this because we know our competitors coming out. And in the end, Sony
think the next gen is just going to be just like what the X is. It's going to be a powerful update, and the only difference is that you're going to make games exclusive for that console. You don't have to do an older one and have a backup hat.
Right.
I think that's the only difference. I really don't see them kind of like going like.
So you're basically saying all the consoles coming out next will be forward compatible. Everything
forward compatible, exactly.
Yeah, going forward. You don't have to worry.
I can see the 4 selling 150 million because it's going to stick around. It's not going to change.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! Look how long they've been making what is it? FIFA and Madden and all that. The sports games on the PS3.
The X is the next 5-year plan. Like it's like, hey, let's keep this powerful console here that could at least hang in there with the competition. And then when they release their next one, we're at least around the power, around it, and then they could continue it on. That's the only that's the X. It's like the next kind of pacifier. They're gonna keep leapfrogging each other. That's what
did you guys see that video that Digital Foundry put out, the PS4 Pro, Xbox One X silicone analysis? All right. So if Sony may actually be taking out a page out of Microsoft's book, if you listen to that video, they're predicting that next gen will launch in 2019. If that happens, I highly doubt Microsoft is launching another console in 2019.
Nah, that's too soon.
That's too. I think it's too soon.
If Sony launches PS5 in 2019, man, I hate to say it, but the gen's over for Microsoft. It's a wrap.
Oh yeah.
It's a wrap.
That's weird.
Yes,
as long as they bring along the PlayStation 4 that folds compatible,
it's over.
They're gonna move. They're not gonna catch up. People. Yeah, it hurt. And like I said, I honestly said, I think me and Smooth talked about this. I said, Sony's next system at the least I can see it. As far as teraflops, the least is 10. It's gonna have at least 10, 8 to 10. I can see it being even 10. CPU is gonna be what they're focusing on. And they're going to focus more on CPU this time than GPU.
Ryzen APUs are out already.
Here's the question, though.
I mean, even a first-gen Ryzen CPU is infinitely better than the Jaguar laptop.
You can get a Ryzen 3 and it'll mop all these.
Yeah, you got even the very first Ryzen is super
the Ryzen 3, which is the first one in the lineup.
Yeah.
Let's say that, the PlayStation and Xbox, whatever their names are going to be, come out, PlayStation is a little bit stronger, but they got stubborn and didn't have any backwards compatibility. What's going to happen?
That's with both systems or just Sony?
That's going to hurt initially.
That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt them initially.
Here's the thing. Like, you can't say that about Microsoft now because they're not showing any kind of backing down from that perspective.
No, they're going to.
They're going to have backwards. Oh yeah, everything.
Everything.
But like Sony,
Sony, that would be hard.
Some of their executives make me think that they have no desire whatsoever for that kind of life.
I don't think it's a desire because if we remember, the PlayStation 2 and 3 were fully backwards compatible.
Right.
I think Sony has no desire to put in the money to make PS4 backwards compatible.
I think
right, but going forward,
I think that's the problem.
I think if architect, it won't matter.
I don't think it matters. Like, look in the past where they've actually made stuff backwards compatible. Look at PS3 when it came out 2 and 1. They had to they were recalling the PlayStation 3s that had backwards compatibility on it.
Yeah, it's so better when they removed it.
Right. But but the other thing about it, you got to look at PlayStation. PlayStation, which each of their systems has always had the R&D to run off
my
really weird technology, which the architect now is like so similar. Everything going forward is going to be so similar. I don't think there would be a reason.
My point is, it doesn't matter if it was similar or not. They actually had it in the past and removed it because they didn't want that in there. Yeah. And for some reason, like, look at PS4. Like last time I checked, it doesn't have at least PS1 games. Like, they would rather resell you the same games because they know their fan base are going to buy these. Let's be real here. Xbox has good games, but Sony got their hands in. If they haven't made them, they publish them and they have the rights. To some of the best
it's same with Nintendo. Nintendo does the same thing. They'll re-put something back out there. I do
agree. I do like 75% agree with Iron Lord. I think the PS3, what they did with the PS3. Probably changed their view on backwards compatibility because the PS3 was fully backwards compatible, the PS2 was fully backwards compatible. But to get the price down, if you guys didn't know, the reason why
to take itself out,
the reason why PS3 was fully backwards compatible because it literally had the PS2 in it. It had the Emotion engine. That's how they were able to do it. To get the price down, they removed it, right? But then after they removed it, that's when they created the Slim $299. All these games, it started selling more. Then with it. So then Sony's like, they probably at one point thinking, do we really need to push backwards compatibility if the console's selling more? And I think now fast forward to the PS4, right? Microsoft announces backwards compatibility in 2015 because this, backwards compatibility on Xbox has been almost 3 years now when you look at it.
Right, it's been there for a minute.
It's a standard template. Yeah. But it hasn't impacted sales versus Sony. So Sony's like, Xbox got backwards compatibility, but it's not really impacting our bottom line. So again, do we really need to focus? Now, for PS5, I think that's going to be a big thing because PS5 is going to have a lot of new generation of people where they're used to carrying their stuff over.
Yeah,
we're talking about iPhone and Android.
Digital. The growth of digital, man.
Nobody's gonna buy an iPhone 8 and be like, I can't carry the stuff I had on my iPhone 7.
Exactly.
If that's not doesn't embrace this and they don't go backwards compatible right now, I'm gonna give you I'm being honest. I don't think they're going to. That might change. Let's see if they, the way I see them do stuff, or because every time the people even bring up that, their number one response is we don't focus on that. We focus on the future. Like every time, like it's like a written book, and that might be PR talk. They might be working on that, behind closed doors. But remember when they did the backwards compatible for the 360, and they were interviewing. I can't remember who were they interviewing when they did the backwards compatible for the 360 at E3 that year. Who was that?
It wasn't Phil Spencer.
No, it was someone on Sony's side.
I know you're talking about. It's what's his name? Not Andrew House. It was what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about on Sony's side?
Yeah, and when he asked him, he's like,
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Andrew House.
It was Andrew House.
Was it Andrew House?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was someone on the Japan side.
Oh, Japan, not Yoshida.
Yeah, it was Yoshida. I'm pretty sure it was Yoshida. And they asked him, he's like, "Well, what do you guys think about their doing that?" Like, the dude was baffled. Like, I really think that caught them off guard. And he's like, "I just like to know how they did it." Like,
I remember him saying that. I
thought process like that. Like, pretty much makes me think that they had no intentions and they're not even researching that at that time.
But I would say the only reason why I think they will is only because it's now x86.
Yeah,
right. It's going to be similar architecture.
It's similar, and number two, it allows developers to continue making PlayStation 4 games, and you can play on a play because that's going to happen. You're going to have cross-gen gaming.
Yep,
it's going to be the first couple of years.
Yeah, the first 2 years you're going to have PS4, PS5.
That's why people think Death Stranding is going to be a PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
The same with The Last of Us.
It's going to happen.
Garuda Legends in the chat says digital means nothing. A digital future is fable.
Okay, hold on, but let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Yeah. All right, but at the end of the day,
see the problem I have with Microsoft's backwards compatibility is that I thought that would use IPs that they had and fund the next generation of that IP, like with back.
How you know it's not though? Like, do you have a connect that I don't know about?
3 years though, and they've been.
Do you have a connect I don't know about? Like, I'm confused.
What?
Oh yeah,
they don't have backwards compatibility. Right. I thought the backwards compatibility was going to be something to use for like future development of the next generation. Like,
but how do you not know that though? Do you have some information? So you haven't seen something, so you automatically think that's not what's going on.
Well, backwards compatibility has been around for a pretty long
time. But not every game has been in backwards compatible list.
I would say
the Xbox 360 library has been there.
I would say this.
Literally the Fable anniversary just got there. Like, it wasn't like 3 months ago, not even 3 months ago. It just got put on there.
But you see what they did when first backwards compatibility come out? They gave like the 2. Here's 1 and 2 because here comes 3. I thought that they were going to kind of keep going with that, and they haven't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the games on the backwards compatible are they're not their games. Like, are you going to fund a game that you don't own?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a licensing deal too.
Yeah, here's a couple there's 2 things with the backwards compatible. Number 1 is licensing.
Right.
You know, because that's one of the challenges of backwards compatibility is getting the release license for your new console. Number 2 is the next console is going to have an easier time. For example, the next Xbox is going to have an easier time with backwards compatible with Xbox One because they're both x86. Yep. A lot of these games were power PC architecture. So it's a little bit... Now, even though Microsoft has it easier, Sony,
oh god,
especially with the sale, they really screwed themselves up with that one.
Well, that's why they got the PlayStation Now.
So they really.
That's the only way they can do it.
But Sony's always done it. If you think about it, think about the PS2. The PS2 had what the emotion engine. All the PlayStation's consoles had like
So Rocky was the crazy guy,
so they consistently like reinvented the wheel every generation. This is gonna be the first time where they'll have consecutive architectures back.
Damon, Fable Anniversary came before January because I remembered I just about to switch jobs, and that I actually been working on this job
since Frenzy 3 then because they released Fusion Frenzy 1.
I think so.
I
think Fable was last year because me and Smooth were talking about playing it together.
At the end of the day, these might not fund sequels to these games, but they are funding the gaming division of this entire genre.
It is. Yeah. I thought it would be cool to kind of reignite the IP to bring the IP back.
I mean, they might be bringing it back to see the interest, and if only 10,000 people buy it, you think they're going to spend 20 million people doing it?
Battletoads 2, maybe like
out of all the people, I'm surprised, and I know Microsoft pushes for backwards compatibility and all that, and that's a fantastic, feature. I
know he's about to say
it keeps you. But why don't they remake Xbox OG Xbox? Because let's be honest,
I agree.
Exactly. Like Xbox 360 has 85 million sales, right?
Right.
OG Xbox was 25. You're talking millions upon millions of Xbox gamers that never played the OG Xbox.
How many of the old
remake some of these old classics?
There's a lot of games from the OG Xbox. They could come back as long as they work with these companies and they can put the money in. They can say, "Look, Knights of the Old Republic is a huge. I mean, that is. I know it's not them, but that is a huge. Jade Empire is a huge.
Even
game.
Fable 1, everybody talks about. Oh my god,
anniversary.
Everybody talks about Fable's a big, huge IP. Majority of Xbox gamers haven't played it, other than the hardcore that own
those. Remade Fable Anniversary instead of just doing backwards compatibility.
Remake it from the ground up, and here's the thing: Shadow of Colossus. Recently, the first week sales is actually higher on the remake than when the original game released.
I mean, I would hope any kind of remake would be around there, actually. The install base is probably quadruple what it was back then.
It's also the prominence of gaming now, though.
But the thing is that...
Well, remember, the game came out in 2005. PlayStation 2 was 100 million by that point.
Well, it doesn't matter how many consoles you've sold. It matters... I mean, let's be real here. Gaming is way more mainstream than it was back then. People buy more games than they did back then.
And then there's digital, too. That also makes it more accessible. Oh, yeah. Who remember the days during the PS2 where the reason why you pre-ordered is to make sure you got the game,
right? Because they weren't a guarantee to have a certain amount of copies.
Look at this. Now people in the comment section say this is why Xbox got no games because we just want remakes.
Oh no, man, we're not getting remakes either, so don't worry about that. Because
PlayStation gets their remakes here and there.
We got remakes.
They do well, but
certain games should be remade. Like Fable 1.
That's right.
Jade Empire.
It does. I agree.
Ninja Gaiden Black. Oh my god!
Keep going. going, Porrock. Let's go. Keep going. Keep saying them all. I like it.
Oh my god, that would be freaking amazing.
Because it does fill in the gaps, though. It does fill in the gaps.
Oh,
right.
And I was telling this to
and that's what Sony does. They have filler games.
Because I got the Super NES Classic and playing Secret of Mana on that, and I'm like, oh, this looks like. And then when playing the remaster of it, like I could go play it because it is current now. It looks something I should be playing now.
That's another thing. It's a lot of great games that has history, and it could be introduced to a new audience without the new audience. Like, I don't want to play this old shit.
Yeah, like, I played Crimson Sky, man. I put it in. I was like, wow, it works. I put it in. It's 5 minutes. I'm like, oh.
Like Morrowind.
Right.
Yeah, everybody loves Skyrim and Oblivion, but Morrowind was on the Xbox.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! If they did a remake of that,
sell.
Yeah, imagine if they worked with Bethesda and got an exclusive deal for a remake of Morrowind.
Imagine if they made Bloodwake with the sea physics of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that game it would sell just because
Bloodwake was awesome. That was like a combat.
Yes, I remember that. The boat one, right?
Yeah,
Bloody Wake.
Yeah. Beat that with the Sea of Thieves water.
My son always talks about a lot of games that were on Xbox that he wants to come back. Like that we both like Otogi 1 and 2. We love that game.
Tao Feng.
Tao Feng. Tao Feng is you know what? Tao Feng was before its time. It really was.
From the creative Mortal Kombat and that destructive environment.
There are a lot of games, the original Xbox that come back.
Was it Spawn only on Xbox or something?
Yep, it was only on Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah. Well, you gotta think too that coming into from the Xbox to the 360 generation, there were games that were on the Xbox that
they had to
really pushed.
The gaming.
They really pushed that online community because I can honestly tell you, when Xbox Live came out, I was day one there on the original Xbox, and I played the hell out of Wolfenstein Original and Midtown Madness 3. I played those games faithfully.
Midtown Madness 3 was good.
Yeah, I played the hell out of that. I played Crimson Sky. I played the hell out of Crimson Sky. I played Mech Assault. You know, like I was there day one.
Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me
started. Remake of that.
It's like you know how I would love a remake of Mech Assault.
Crimson Sky.
Yeah, Crimson Sky.
Oh man.
Game.
And I would say Mech Assault at E3. If they announce Mech Assault at E3, that will make my E3. But
you know what would be a crazy game? A game that was like Mario Party, but you pick characters of games like Halo Master Chief and stuff like that.
Right.
And instead of like random games, you put like a random game of their games, like a random multiplayer game. Like you could be playing a custom game of Halo in one game, and then like the next round you're playing Gears or custom game of Gears. Like that would be crazy.
I know what you're talking about. Kind of like when Nintendo did with the NES.
You know the Mario Party at the end of all their turns, they play a random game.
Oh yeah,
right.
Like, imagine doing that, but with like playing a random game of Halo or a random game of Gears. Like that would be crazy.
Then all of a sudden you're like in Forza. You're like, wait, what?
Right. You talking about like what Nintendo did?
Project Gotham. They didn't make backwards compatible either. Project Gotham.
Oh man, Project Gotham is another franchise that just went away. Shoot, Sega Rally. There was a lot of games that Xbox.
Sega Rally. They had Sega Rally.
Funny, Xbox had Shenmue. That's what.
Yeah, they did.
Yes,
they did.
That's what's hilarious.
They sure did. They had a lot of Asian exclusive. Well, a lot of Sega games were on a console because
Sega,
they work really. They work really close to Sega.
Xbox was be the second coming of Sega. That's
the Dreamcast too. That's what I loved. That was my Dreamcast too.
The Dreamcast was ahead of its time.
What was the boxing? What was the boxing game?
Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble. Oh man, I remember that.
Microsoft. I mean, they had some really amazing like games that were only on their console, and you like, ooh, this is why on the Xbox. And PlayStation had a variety. Don't get me wrong, but man, those Xbox classics, they had Enclave. They had Sudeki. They had a lot of exclusive games.
Like I said, man, Microsoft isn't going to catch up. They're not going to get any kind of sales like they used to.
I don't think they will.
They got to start dropping games like they were in the 360. Like when they dropped a Halo 3, it was over. Like the whole generation was over. Like
who ruined Xbox this gen, man? Satya, my good friend. Satya.
You know what ruined Xbox? It was the PlayStation marketing team. That's what ruined Xbox.
Satya Nadella, because he treats games like how your mom said, "Go play your Nintendo."
Me and Lord Cognito always said it's not. It's not Xbox versus PlayStation. It's Xbox versus the PlayStation's marketing team.
Yeah, Sony's marketing is amazing this time around. Like I mean, this is
been on point this gen, man. It's
like I'm telling you, you saw that God of War stuff they did on that.
How's the games, Phil? What's games? We got games. Okay, good. Right. Okay, next one. How's Office doing?
Because I was sitting there and like every time I see a commercial, I'm like when you see Destiny, you see the PlayStation symbol, and you see certain games, you're like, and they market some of the biggest games that are out there, and you're like, damn, like Sony has the marketing to everything, And then some of the things in the way they market, like you're in a basketball game, you see Kratos and his son on the floor. Some people who don't play games are like, "Hey, that looks cool," and their kids like, "That's a PlayStation 4," and their parents are like, "Oh, that's what he wants for Christmas." Okay, and so now they already got in their head, well, the God of War is a day one for my kid. I can get this PlayStation 4 for him when the Christmas drops for $199. So they kind of, they set themselves up for saying, well, we got some sales here and there. I 360 did that last generation. Their marketing was on point.
Aggressive.
It was super aggressive last generation.
To play devil's advocate on this, though, we also have to see that like Sony, their company for a while was surviving on PlayStation. So most of their decision was, how can we make sure that the biggest arm of our company helps us weather the storm, while Microsoft, Xbox is like a bucket. It's like a. I mean, it's not knocking Xbox, that the company's so huge that, like, if Xbox were to disappear, they won't even notice. They're just huge.
That's what I'm trying to tell
just so big.
Yeah, they're dabbling in so many different things.
Yeah, they're just huge.
That's what I try to tell people. It's not necessarily that Microsoft doesn't have the budget.
No, they got the money.
It's not that. Like, they got money, but do they have the budget for that that money?
It may not be.
I guarantee you that it's like what was his name? He had an interview with the Inner Circle, and he said, he's like, look, like, when it comes down to it, Sony's just more open to it because they have more optimistic, because they're in that. I mean, you know what really, really helps Sony that I think a lot of people overlook is how they're in the movie industry, because they know how to market fit, they know how to show shit. Do you honestly think that it's not that it's not any kind of mistake that people sometimes mistake Uncharted for a movie? Do you think it's any kind of mistake that a lot of the interactive cutscenes in Uncharted look like movie cutscenes?
And they probably have.
No, it's no mistake. Yeah. They got help because they're more than just gaming. It's the same with Microsoft. They're more than just gaming.
I'm surprised that Xbox Live hasn't evolved to the next level. Like, they really dropped on arenas. Like, arenas really are supported by 3 games. Like all the kind of cool stuff, competitive stuff, or things that get add to Live. Like, I can't believe we haven't really seen like the next step to that. Like, Mark Whitten used to come out there and talk all about Live and all that stuff. He went to Sonos. Ybarra's over there, but they really need to evolve what online gaming is. Like, they should do the next level, and I was expecting that. And
I think we could blame Sony for that, because like after a while, if you don't have competition, after a point, be like, we're way better than them. Let's focus on this area. Yeah. So I don't think Sony's helping on that front to where Microsoft has to worry about their online infrastructure.
Sharing, though, like Microsoft. A fool. That's the biggest problem too. I was like, they are a fool for not embracing the sharing, especially with the X coming out. How did they not throw like a sharing update direct to YouTube, direct to Twitter?
Yes.
Like, come on, you got to show those 4K screenshots.
For some reason, I feel like I think that's Google stopping the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
Well, Google's stopping YouTube and not stopping the Twitter and not stopping them from putting a share button on a friggin' controller because they have it on the.
I don't want a share button on a controller.
Yo, man, I use that.
No, I see what he's saying with the share button.
They could do something that doesn't require you to have a button on a controller. Like, it already tells you when you like. This is all they have to do.
Feature.
Well, no, this is all you have to do. The moment you screenshot and it pops up and says it took the screenshot, you just hold the button again and say post to Twitter. That's all you need. You don't need a whole button.
That share button's pretty hot, man.
It's literally the same.
No, that share button. I'll be honest. I don't use the share button. Like I said, I don't post screenshots.
Yeah, I take a lot of pictures with it.
I didn't realize how easy it was until I started trying to do it on Xbox. I'm like, holy shit.
This time I'm holding the controller in one hand and I have my finger around trying to get that share button on there. Yeah. I don't know, man. I like it.
I know people who use it all the time. They love it. Like, but I don't use it all the time. Like,
I do when I take pictures in games and I want to show off a picture and have it.
I double click it for video clips. I double click it.
I feel like I'm the
double click for recording gameplay, right?
I feel like I'm
recording gameplay. Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only gamer that is taking like a step back on God of War until I see God of War. Like,
really?
I feel like I'm the only one. I'm not buying God of War day one. I'm just not.
That's a day one for me. Oh my god,
I'm excited for it.
I can't.
And you go with Sea
I
of
can't
Thieves.
get excited for a game that doesn't look like God of War to me. I just can't.
Okay. I don't know. I have the hope in a way how they went from Metroid side scrolling to Metroid Prime. I'm hoping
that's
that
what
level
I'm
of
feeling.
change.
And then every time they
I'm
say
hoping.
something new, I get less and less enthusiastic about it. Like,
we got a game for you. It's called God of War 3.
then I'd rather play God of War 3 at this moment.
Yeah.
Because I feel like here's my biggest problem with Sony right now. I feel like they're literally taking all their other game designs. They're like, okay, this is good, but how can we put Last of Us in it? That's literally what I feel like.
No,
like,
you know what? When I hear people, people crack me up when they say, "Oh, God of War, you can't jump," and I hear a lot of people saying that, and I saw some guys on Twitter. I'm not gonna name them, because they're Xbox guys, but they were freaking out and they were having this big conversation about how God of War's not gonna have a jump button. I'm like, well, you weren't saying the same thing. Like Rise, Son of Rome didn't have a jump button. Like
Gears don't have
basically,
a jump.
yeah. I'm like, some of these games that are really good don't have jump buttons. Like they're changing, they're going a different direction.
Bloodborne don't have a jump button.
Yeah, they're reinventing something. Like it's
but
good to go to a different direction.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between a game not having a jump feature that wasn't really, there's certain games that can take away that jump feature, but that's literally all God of War was doing combos, doing wicked ass combo. I mean, look at all the platforming that was in God of War. So you mean to tell me that I'm gonna have to run to a wall?
I see God of War.
So you do have. I'll say this. He does have a point, but the thing is, this is not the same game. Like if they were to remake the game, like if this new God of War was the same game design as the old one, but they removed the jump button, then we would have a problem. Like, how is this going to work?
God of War 4?
But this is a whole new game.
But I get that. You can't call it God of War 4 and not expect me to believe it's a sequel. Like, that doesn't work like that. You don't put a 4 after the 3. That's literally how...
I think it is called God of War 4.
No, it's not. It's just called God of War.
It's not
literally just called God of War.
It's just God of War.
It's just God of War.
But I mean, even like, okay, I stand corrected on that. It's just, it doesn't feel like God of War to me. It feels like Last of Us with Kratos.
I would say this. In reality, the only connection this God of War has with the old one is just Kratos.
That's it.
That's it. It's just
Kratos is the biggest part of God of War.
I know that, but
that's like me saying that's not that big at all. You realize that people flip shit because they change little ass shit in games.
And Halo, the fact that you can
run. I agree, but I'm not saying the game's going to be great or it's going to be bad. All I'm saying is it is completely different.
The same people in this comment section say it's got to evolve are the same people that was shitting on Halo because it had different standards.
No, Halo needed that jump. When Halo 4 had the sprint, I was like, oh hell yeah!
I don't want a prompt to jump over shit. I don't want a vault to prompt to jump over shit. I don't want to have to go to a certain section on the map to do a puzzle. That's not what God of War is.
No, I think this God of War is going to be closer to it. And this is just me. This is my thing. When I see it, I always think Dark Souls. I think Soul was popular with the Souls game. I see the game being hard.
With God of War, the last game bombed. In Sony,
Ascension.
Like Cory Barlog had an interview.
Part of the reason that made God of War what it was the dynamic puzzles, the crazy fighting systems they had. Like, I understand they can still do the action base to a point, but at the end of the day, I just don't see how they can do what made God of War in that kind of gameplay. I just don't.
No. Like, so here's the thing. So all your things is completely valid. You're spot on. But here's the thing: the last God of War bombed, and Sony was not going to greenlight the God of War you want. So it's either this or nothing. But they
weren't the last God of War even on. Wasn't it on Vita?
Ascension.
No. Ascension. It was on a PS3. It was on a PS3.
Yeah.
It's like God of War 3 sold a little over 5 million. 2 years later, God of War Ascension barely broke a million.
I'll wait and I'll see and I'll wait till it on sale. But that is not God of War. That is a branded God of War that it might be good, but that's not what I liked about God of War. And it's like I said, I'll give it a chance once it comes out. After if it looks lit and I like it, I'll pick it up on day one. But as of right now, it doesn't look like God of War.
But it's not.
It looks like Last of Us with Kratos as a main character.
You are correct. It isn't the God of War. It isn't. And I think people don't understand that. This God of War is not the last God. Again, the only resemblance is the main character. Everything changed.
Right.
Everything. It is. You are correct. This is not the God of War you know and love. It is not. No different than
Kratos Rising.
No different than Metroid Prime. It's not the It's no different. It's no different than Metroid Prime. It's not the Metroid people were used to when it was a side scroller. It is a completely different experience. It's completely different. It's not the same.
It'll be the evolution.
It might be worse.
Who knows?
It might be better. It might be in between. But make no mistake, you are correct. It is not the God of War you know. It is a completely new reimagining of how the game's going to be.
At the end of the day,
right.
I feel like story was a big thing on God of War, and I mean, who knows what they're going to do with this? I don't even really. What mythology are they even in now?
Greek.
It's Norse.
No, yeah, it's Norse. No, it's not. So, is it Greek?
As long as they do the story right, and the combat system is good.
It. Yeah, it's all the Viking stuff.
Like it's everything. Even there's supposed to be Thor's in it too now.
Oh damn!
One of the biggest things I have a problem with too is actually. I guess it was because of playing God of War 1 through 3, going through all that, killing all the gods of everything, and it's kind of weird to go to another mythology as well. It's like I killed all these people, and then they've been really skeptical about where this is, if it's after or it's before, what happened, why is Kratos looking different, why does he have a kid? I'm telling you guys, I'm really thinking that they're prepping this kid to be the main character, and they're gonna kill Kratos eventually.
That's definitely gonna happen. You can tell.
I think the same thing with The Last of Us. I think Ellie is gonna be the main character, and Joel is a figment of her imagination in the last one. That's what I think.
Yo, that would be crazy.
When I saw that trailer, her playing the guitar and he was talking, she really didn't pay attention.
They'll pull some Sixth Sense and shit.
In my head, I was like, Joel is in her mind. Joel's dead.
You know that will blow people's mind.
Some Sixth Sense.
Like you think you're killing everybody with Joel, but in reality, at the end of the game, you realize it was with Ellie.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The fuck?
It's all in her mind. That's how they get you, that mind trick.
Yeah, I want to play it and I'm going to look at it, but it's just I guess it's people want to compare it to when Resident Evil went to 3 to 4 and it was completely different. But I don't even see that was different, but this is way different.
Oh, Resident Evil went to first
completely different.
Yeah.
And I was really hesitant about that.
Resident Evil went to 4. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. I was really hesitant about Resident Evil 7, but I ended up liking that game.
Yeah.
The fact that it changed direction is actually the reason why I'm going to pick up the game day one. Because unlike most people, and I know this sounds weird to a lot of people, I wasn't a huge fan of God of War just in general.
I'm be honest. Me and Merc, we are in the same direction. That's what I'm looking for. I'm interested because I like what they're doing. It's all right, cool.
Yeah. It's the reason I'm buying
How much you guys want to bet they're going to have a lot of interactive cutscenes in this game? Excessive amount.
For some reason,
I think with the death scenes, I think when you're doing executions, yes. Other than that, maybe you mean as far as fights or just
everything. I think this is going to be a cutscene game like a motherfucker.
No.
Ooh,
I don't know. I hope not.
I don't think so.
But you guys want to get your last in the pills out because it's 11. It's 11.
I was going to ask you, Smooth, if I didn't know if you want to do some last minute Metacritic score predictions for your Sea of Thieves and the God of War.
We can go around and do that.
Yeah, sure. God of War and Sea of Thieves. I still think it's too early, but I must go with.
Let's just do Sea of Thieves. We don't need to do.
We can do Sea of Thieves. Yeah, we do Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. I have 84.
Okay.
I think 84 to 85 is fair.
Yeah.
Give it 82.
I don't know. It might even, dude. It might surprise us and get an 89 to 90 because supposedly the critics love this fucking game. There's a reason they were playing it like crazy during the beta.
I hope. I'm gonna play it safe because I got reserve some rights for media bias.
I think that Sea of Thieves is gonna get a solid Metacritic score 77.
A 77?
Yep. I think it's gonna be 77.
82.
I think I kind of go with Kiss Move 84. I think it's
84 to 85 one around there.
I think it'd be 80.
What do you think State of Decay is going to get out of just shits and giggles?
I think State of Decay is going to get a solid Metacritic 8.3. I think it's going to be their best scoring game this year.
70. I got 70.
About an 86.
I got a 78. I don't think it's gonna be that hot.
85, 86.
Really?
Yep.
No, I think
the same as Sea of Thieves 82.
I think if State of Decay 2 is how the first one was, and they buffed everything, and that 4-player co-op works functionally and well,
it's gonna get a solid review.
86 all day long. There's no way it goes lower.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous with them with online because they haven't done online with that stuff, and they had janky. See, the first game was janky. I don't know.
I think with the bigger budget, they're no longer focusing on 360 or whatever. I think it's a mid 80 game. I think
I think it's gonna be an 83. I think
it's gonna be 85, 86.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot better.
Crackdown 90.
Crackdown 90. Oh hell no.
Nah.
Here's a good question. Here's a good question before it closes out. Ones that they show at E3, the multiplayer, and it does everything they expected. Do you still think it can recover from that?
Crackdown?
Yeah, and it does everything that they expected. Everything that they expected.
Not just 4 people. If it's 8 people, like if it is,
let's say it's 16-man lobbies, and it's completely.
This is what they have to do, right?
Oh man,
it has to be look as good as it originally looked. It has to have a PUBG mode, and that PUBG mode has to be indestructible.
That's the key. The key.
That's the key, right?
I know a lot of people are talking about the destruction of cloud computing, and I'm like, that's amazing tech.
Yes,
but you're not going to be impressed with the same broken bridge 2 weeks later.
Nope,
it's going to lose its appeal. I don't care how many buildings you could blow up. You have to make it value something in terms of the game modes. It has to mean something.
What they need to do.
A month later, you're not going to say, "Oh, look, I could blow up this building." Yeah, I saw that already 100 times.
What they need to do is they need to have agility orbs,
because the building doesn't blow up the same way every time. You know what I
mean?
But
they need to have.
Like after 100 hours, you're gonna be used to it.
And if it's a small space,
but the game modes is what's really gonna make it shine.
If they wanted to do like a PUBG thing, one of the good ways they can do it is every agent spawns as level 1, and you collect energy orbs and everything to level up during that game.
Oh. I mean, that would be interesting.
Or for like a battle royale type game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting Crackdown no matter when it comes out, but I think Crackdown's going to get a.
And then, I don't think they can do the looting thing. I think what would have to do is there would be crates that just shoot down from time to time, and you have to just fight for it because it would be different than PUBG. PUBG, you can't really do hand-to-hand combat. You can definitely do hand-to-hand combat in Crackdown.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I see Crackdown, it just reminds me, every time I've seen it, I'm like, this is going to be Crackdown 1, like the Crackdown 2 sequel we should have got. And I feel it's going to have a lot of Crackdown 1 appeal to it. So I think it's going to be a decent game. But I think the story, if the story isn't fulfilling the people, that's what may take reviews down. And the multiplayer maybe what keeps that game up.
I think the reason that hurt them is I think they should have had They should have had a solid story like they did in Crackdown 1, and they should have had like a GTA 5 kind of multiplayer where it's not everything destructible.
Right.
And I think that could have pulled that way longer than giving all these expectations and oh shit, we can't do it. We're gonna have to delay the game until we can.
I mean, because Crackdown 1 was really a fun game. A lot of people say, oh, people only bought it because they got a beta.
If Crackdown gets delayed again, they might as well cancel it.
I don't think they're going to cancel it because that game
that game will come out like shit before it gets canceled.
You think
exactly. I was about to say that. Yeah, I can agree with that. It'll come out bad before it gets delayed.
Yeah, I don't think Phil wants to go through that again. He don't want to go through that again.
He's not going to go through a scale down.
He can't delay a game. If he delays a game, he has to respawn another one.
We're going to see Kid Smooth with a RAM video.
Yeah.
So question: You be okay with releasing Crackdown in the fall?
Games. As long as it's not near October.
At the end of the day, as long as it releases, it has to release. He's gonna release one way or come hell or high water. Crackdown 3 is coming.
Yeah, it is.
Phil's not gonna try to hear that.
Yep.
Shit, man. This fall's loaded, bro. Loaded.
Yeah.
Battlefield, Red Dead, COD.
I think September. It needs to come out September.
Well, Red Dead has its own slot in all of October.
I
think everybody rescheduled their games once they.
I think it needs to come out.
Red Dead is going to sell
middle to beginning of September. That's when it needs to come out.
I think Crackdown's come out in August.
It'd be nice.
I'll be honest with you, man.
I think August is way too soon.
That's not there, but that's actually not a bad month to release it.
It's not. It's summer.
Yeah, it's the summer, and I don't think that the whole stigma of games don't sell in the summer. I think that's long.
No, that's long gone.
Yeah.
I think
Games don't sell in December unless you're really
will have a Crackdown beta.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, like unless you're coming up with like Bethesda games or Rockstar games or Naughty Dog,
Right.
like if you got a good enough game, it's gonna sell. It's just these devs be like putting out this like average game and get pissed when it doesn't sell compared to. They're like, oh, we want GTA 5 scores. Well, you don't have a GTA 5 game.
Yeah. All right, but can you guys do your outros though?
All right, I'll do mine. Appreciate everyone from coming out. Gaming Addict here. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess fucking finish Bloodborne tomorrow. I'll try.
Do it.
Do it, man. Gotta do it.
I think I'll start neither. I don't know which game I'm going to start after that. It will be neither not Crackdown.
Oh, Lord.
It will be neither Ratchet and Clank or it will be the Order 1886. Probably the Order because I could beat that faster. That wasn't even like a jab at it.
Let me give you advice. Just throw it away, and then
It was bad,
play
man.
Horizon Zero Dawn, play Neon Automata, play Forza. Just oh my god, I just don't like it. Like there's only 2 useful weapons. Like that lightning gun. It takes too long to charge. You're getting hit and killed.
Look, I intend on doing an addict review on it, and I can't review the game unless I beat it. And since the game only takes like 9 or 10 hours to beat, I think I'll
favor and just say
I will play the 9 to 10. Look, it can take the amount that it takes. It takes longer for me to do a shift at work than it would to beat that game. So I'm gonna do it.
Oh my god,
you're just not gonna enjoy it. I mean, oh man,
Just
it's bad.
play The Last of Us, bro.
It's just bad.
That's what you need to play next.
Did you play The Last of Us yet?
I've not beat it.
Oh hell
no! My god,
hell no!
People keep telling me I need to play that on the hardest difficulty and stream. I don't know if I'm down with it.
Oh my!
Headphones.
Survivor.
It's amazing, man.
Headphones. Oh man, it's some. I envy you if you're gonna play it for the first time.
Oh my god! I was just about to say that you took that right out.
The farthest I got to the first clicker, and then I was playing it on my friend's house. And I didn't have a PlayStation.
It's almost a tragedy. You're gonna play Order 1886 before that. You're breaking my heart here.
Look, the only reason I'm playing it is because Order is just short. I want to play something short to get to something else.
It's not good.
The Order was so short that the guy at GameStop said, "Buy this and give it back to me in 5 days."
Hey,
you got the full refund.
I wouldn't be telling the dude that can actually mute you to mute me.
Oh man, yeah. Order. I know some people like it. I just couldn't see how people liked it.
It was a cool atmosphere.
I like the lore.
Yeah, the lore was cool.
But the controls were clunky. It was short. It was.
I've been told it has the same boss fight over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's what it is. That's what it was that got me was the boss fight.
Oh, that wolf! You can just keep dodging them and stabbing them.
I ain't gonna lie, real talk.
I mean, let's be real here. Like
at one point in the game, when I
do
was
you guys think there's gonna be another Order?
No,
there should have been, but there won't be.
If there is, it won't be until next generation. They'll just give it a break.
If there's a god,
it won't happen. You would have been blocked if I wasn't playing.
Oh.
Infinite.
I hope there isn't one. I mean, if they did, they have to revamp it. They have to.
Yeah.
The controls have to be better. They have to add multiplayer modes. Like I can understand a third-person shooter without multiplayer, but if that's the direction you're going to, then make the game more like an RPG, something bigger, open.
Yeah.
Right. But a short shooter
is they need to make it more of an open shooter where you have more options to fight people, and they need to make it. It had 4 people almost at all times, didn't it?
Should have been like Gears of War,
and it could have been a 4-player co-op, and I think it would have done way better.
A 4-player co-op. But the controls, they have to improve the controls. It was
those controls are horrible.
It was bad. It was I couldn't.
Who made the Order? Who was a Sledge?
Ready at Dawn.
Ready at Dawn.
Okay.
It wasn't good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna do my outro. This is Dope Gaming with Frog. You can find me on the Dope Gaming Frog channel. Find me on PSN at Frog and Pepper. You can find me on Xbox at Frog's Dreams. I've been getting a lot of people sending me friends requests.
I have to say something. What's with the PSN name?
What's the PSN name?
Frog and Pepper.
Pepper is my wife's nickname.
You can't change it.
Yeah. He's stuck with it.
Well, no, Pepper's my wife's nickname.
Just fill out a survey.
Yeah, fill that survey.
So,
Hey,
so he's wondering.
So that's how I became Frog and Pepper. Because
it's like we hear you guys want to change your name
in 2018. Hey, there's a rumor that you guys want to change your name. Really? Where did you hear that?
Yeah. My wife didn't want to play PlayStation. She was a diehard Xbox person. So I said, well, her nickname is Pepper. And so I said, well, I'll just put. Yeah, I put Frog and Pepper, so we want to play. You can play under my account. Then she started playing PlayStation, and she was like, I like it. I was like, well, shit, since you made me pick Frog and Pepper, you got to put your name as Pepper and Frog, which she did.
Oh, damn.
Yep. She had no choice. So her name is Pepper and Frog, and I'm Frog and Pepper. People get us confused all the time. They call me Pepper. They call her Frog. But it's pretty cool. I've gotten used to the name. I wish I should have just used my regular Xbox name. But it works for me. It works. It still has Frog in the title, so people get it. And I've been getting a lot of requests on there, but I would ask people, if you're going to send me a request, you want to play games with me, that's cool. But please stop sending obscene pictures. That's disgusting.
What?
Yeah. I got some pictures of some dicks, and I had to and I'm like,
I've never had nobody send me them obscene.
Unfortunately,
I don't know why. That never happened. I've been called almost every derogatory, but thank God.
Somebody sent me a friend request, and I was like, cool. And it had an attachment, and I was like, what the
it's
hell
probably
is this?
because your name, Frog and Pepper, sounds like fucking like Skinamax, like for real.
What the fuck? I don't know about all that. All I know is I would appreciate it if you're gonna send me a friend request. I'll play games with you. Please just don't send me anything derogatory or new pictures. Like, that's disgusting.
Now you're gonna get flooded with dick pics because you I just told the internet you don't want it. That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah,
now.
that's probably all I'm gonna get now. I'm like, gosh, dang, that's horrible.
Change that PSN. Yeah, change it.
I'll probably change it if I do get a chance to change it. I've had it for over 10 years, so I'll just keep it either the same or just change it to my Xbox.
I want to know how
many
people, when they add that feature, are gonna live stream them changing their name.
That's gonna be like a YouTube video.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical.
How to change your PSN name change?
The only reason I'm skeptical because I'm like, man,
10 million views.
I don't trust Sony's architect or their whole basic system of like me losing all my stuff.
Trophies,
So I'm like, nah.
Yeah, isn't your trophies connected? You have to be connected to the internet to see them or something.
No, you don't have to be connected to the internet, but you have to be connected to your. Well, yeah, you can view your trophies offline or online, so you don't have to be connected. But I'm skeptical of Sony name changing thing. I'm just like, man, I can see them doing something and
you change your name and it resets everything.
Yeah, I can see people reporting that. I'm good. I'll just keep I'm gonna wait until if they announce that, I'm gonna wait a couple of months and see what feedback happens.
Yeah, that's the smart way to do it.
Why don't they let you start changing your name, but like trading in trophies for it?
Oh man!
Oh, that was.
You had to give up 2 platinums for this name change. What?
Jack would be good forever. He could change his name like 50 times.
Oh, that would suck.
That's man.
All right,
this is Grinds My Gears, Jez7780 on Twitter. Follow me over there. And I don't want dick pics, so I'm not telling you my other stuff.
You realize they can send you a dick pic on Twitter now, right?
Well, that's all right. I'll get them over there.
Oh, man.
Great. The podcast I get invited. Now we're all talking about dick pics. So I see what's coming. I already know what's coming. I already see my phone lighting up right now. You have a new attachment on PSN.
Oh man!
Don't even bother. I'm just deleting any attachment that's sent to me. Is automatic delete. I was
gonna send him a code for a PSN card. He just
fuck it. Yeah.
Oh shit! But yeah, Merc
305 everywhere. Hit me up. Great show, guys. Hit that like button.
And shouts out to Puerto Rock, please.
Hey, man, it's Puerto Rock 77. Thank you for the invite right here. That's right. Puerto Rock is on Planet Xbox.
Oh, shit. Right? Oh, shit.
Yes. Yeah, people are going to be confused. Like, what the hell's going on?
What was funny is when I saw him in the chat, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get Puerto Rock in. And I hit him on Twitter.
I was thinking when you sent me the link and I saw, Addict sent it to me. I'm thinking, does Kid Smooth know?
No, I didn't.
Let's find out.
I didn't even tell Kid Smooth.
It's like, let's find out. But hey, thank you for the invite. It's an awesome show. I watch this. I try to watch this as much as I can. It's one of the few Xbox shows, believe it or not, I watch. Is this one? Rants is fantastic. So yes, I do watch actual Xbox content. The good ones.
Vice versa.
This one's a real good one. I enjoy playing Xbox a lot, believe it or not. Yeah,
I just wait for some Xbox news or PlayStation news to come up, and then I'm like, all right, Porter Rock's going live at 5.
Yeah. Yes, who knows? He's like, yep, when's it happening?
Don't lie. You watch Planet Xbox, so you know what to talk about on your show, right?
Yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying? I just copy what you guys do. Right?
He's like, okay, we need to talk about this.
Market, I'm copying.
This is exactly what he does. He listens to us like, okay, Kids Move's excited about this. I need to shit talk this.
Yeah, I need to shit on him, man.
Porter Rock with the cliff notes, man.
He's like, oh my god, see if this is the next PUBG. A word? Time to shit on you.
I was like, let's see how excited Rock's live stream is gonna be. Is he gonna have the camera on or off?
That's when you know.
And that's how you can tell. Yeah, the camera's on.
The camera's on. Like, oh shit.
If his camera's on, you know it's gonna be.
You know, it's
an hour and a half long.
Pull out the whiteboard.
When I got the whiteboard, there you go.
He's not dropping. He's like doing like calculations and shit.
When I got my dry erase marker, you know it's popping.
Oh man.
But thank you so much. This was a fantastic podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Pleasure to have you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. As always, playing Xbox. As always, Xbox is the best box. I am the best bot. Good night or good morning if you're watching from the other side of the globe. We're out of here. Peace.
Nice.
Yo.